Hello! Welcome back to the beginning of a new chapter of our Xerieos campaign. I thought this is a good place to cut it up a little bit and start the new thread of the story. I am Ryan. We have 3 players that play with me every week, which is very lovely of them to give up their time. And this is a really good place to pick up on the campaign if you've not watched any of it so far. I mean, there are 31 episodes of content that you can watch before if you're really keen.
So keen.
I know that other bits and pieces going up as well. I know that we've got plans imminently to finish your long-awaited one-shot. I'm very sorry. We filmed one of your one-shots as well, Fiona.
Me, yes.
But just as a little bit of, we're going to do basically a plot catch-up, effectively, to get from what's happened to where we are now. So there's a little bit of a spoiler. If you're planning on coming into the series as a new person, this is a really good way of doing it. But if you were planning on watching those episodes before, good luck, and you might want to switch over. Yeah, now Godspeed. Yeah, exactly so. So, the 3 players. So we have Sam.
Hello, I am Sam.
Playing Blue the Bard.
Well, I was. Spoiler alert!
Playing Blue the Bard. So, Dragonborn, Bronze Dragonborn.
Blue.
Yeah, blue.
Blue
Hang on, whoa!
Dragonborn. What
Hang
colour?
on, no. So, but which colour is Blue Dragonborn?
Lightning.
Blue is blue.
Are you
Lightning.
literally a Blue Dragonborn?
Yes.
But you know that's an evil Dragonborn colour.
If you're
We
racist.
We never found this out.
part.
That's totally fine.
We
That's
didn't
totally
get to
fine.
that part of the
Did you just
story.
hang on? Right? No.
No.
Did you just imply that someone is evil based on the colour of their skin?
Moving on. So, that is a D&D thing. There's like the whole chromatic and metallic
Did not know
thing.
that.
Ah.
It's
There you
not
go.
on
Wow.
the Dragon
Well,
Ball
that's
page.
fine.
We'll never know.
Hey,
Well, this
hey,
is just a land of
that
terror.
is typecasting, and that's my apologies for that. But
Or plot levels later on.
oh, exactly. Believe the Dragonborn. Believe the Bard. You
Who is blue? Who was blue?
exactly hail
He's
from an
grey
island
now.
of Melis.
What?
Very little is known about it, but a forested island off in the midst of Xerieos, one of my homebrew worlds. It's a land, effectively, of oceans and little islands everywhere. I think a little bit sort of Zelda, Wind Waker. There's a couple of other books you guys have mentioned, but yeah, that sort of thing. It's lots of sea. If you come from an island called Melis, and you had boarded a ship called the Athena, helmed by Captain Grumac on the way to Ybrit, one of the major cities in the middle of this area called the Inner Sanctum. You had your reasons, and pretty soon 2 other individuals joined the ship on the island of Harpley. Fiona playing Aubrey Amblecran. Do you know who we are?
I do.
A human barbarian, or other words, trader with anger issues. Hailing from a trading family, you had joined the Athena, again on the way to Ybrit, guarding some cargo, very safely guarding, just a very important thing that you had to do.
Very secure.
Very secure, but you didn't know anything about it at the time.
No.
And the other adventurer, played by David, was Theren, the human paladin.
No.
Half-elf. Oh my god, I'm doing this terribly. I'm so sorry.
Surprise!
31 episodes, it's totally gone.
See what happens when you have a day off.
Terrible. A half-elf paladin of the Order of the Blazing Sun, a religious sect based on or just sort of to the side of Applebury, the city of Harpley. You again, on the way to Ybrit, is best described as a religious gap year of sorts, an initiation rite.
Yeah.
And the party have been through pretty much everything over the course of 31 episodes. The ship originally was attacked by rat folk and salt goblins. The ship was not quite sunk, but fairly damaged, and you found yourself on the Beggar's Bowl, a very ostracized and left alone island for its banditry, its savagery, and its lack of civilization, where you uncovered various evil threats, a weird sort of friendship circle of tribes on the island who seem to love and hate each other in no logical way at all.
Which really upset me.
Yeah. You lost at one point, Aubrey, to a giant crocodile, one of the very early campaign deaths, which it took us all by surprise, but actually served as a you right there? Served as an important plot point as the party uncovered a link to the Feywild, a parallel plane of existence to the material plane that we know and love in 5e. Its inhabitant, the Bear King, offering Theren in particular a pact, a warlock pact, you could say, giving him his own weapon, Bearclaw, and a link to arcane power that Theren had not previously had. You made an agreement that eventually saw Aubrey being brought back to life after the extermination of a hag or two. You left the Beggar's Bowl, making your way to Ybrit, where you found a civilization more just strange, slightly corrupt, slightly manic than you were realising, but a guild system. A city based on guilds of various enterprises where everybody fit in depending on the trade that they did and the way they made money. You uncovered a bit of a dark sect as Captain Grumac's secret trade, the cargo that was almost stolen, that Aubrey was looking after all this time, turned out to be an illegal substance named Arcanite. Namely, revealed later on, a material that possessed certain traits, certain arcane traits that made it quite exciting, but also quite dangerous. Navigating various diplomatic things aside, you took on a contract after fighting a few tournaments in Ybrit and doing other bits of business. A contract to escort Lady Riverwall, a mysterious patron and benefactor of the Adventurers Guild, and her assistant Carmian, who was a tiefling wizard of certain power. You accompanied them to Mount Arnan, a island in the far south of the Inner Sanctum, where you were looking for an artifact, although what that artifact was you were not sure. Although after a few days on the island, Carmian surprised you all with an unexpected trip to the Shadowfell, again a second tangential plane of existence, where you found out that the sea that encompasses all life in Xerieos in the Shadowfell was not as high, and you were able to walk down off the mountain and into a lost clockwork castle of sorts, where you found lots of automated contraptions.
Creepy.
Yeah, exactly. It's a long story when you put it out like this, isn't it? It's amazing what we've got.
Then they did
done.
this.
You solved the puzzles and eventually made your way back to the material plane, but deep underground, making, rough sense from where you were under the sea at the time. And you discovered, amongst other things, dwarves, Durgar, and a temple containing an artifact to which you are fairly sure was what you were looking for. Puzzles, dangers, and unfortunately the petrification and presumed death of Blue are estranged and beautiful Dragonborn bard.
Now evil.
Charisma 20, who knows what he'll come back as, but you were teleported out of this temple back to Mount Arnan, where Carmian and Captain Sarcher, the captain of the ship who'd taken you to Mount Arnan in the first place,
Who had a crush on Blue.
totally, escorted you back to Mount Arnan, to Ybrit.
What?
To Ybrit,
Back in.
where you essentially took the evening back at the Adventurers Guild to debrief, to let your hair down. There were plans, there were things that you needed to do. Nothing really happened, per se, because everything caught up with the characters. There was alcohol, there was celebration, there was commiseration, there was a bit of everything. And we wake. Now level 7. Congratulations, everybody. Aubrey and Theren, you wake later than you would normally expect to, but given the combination of tiredness, insomnia, lack of sleep, exhaustion, hit dice that need recovering, whatever way you want to put it, you were exhausted at the time, and you wake late. Not... the hangover doesn't help. And it's actually the two of you individually awoken. before you stir naturally. As you wake into the room, it's the knocking sound on the door, an excitable knocking that brings you out of your sleep. Actually, make a Constitution saving throw for me, please.
Oh no.
16.
16.
God, I love these new songs.
Oh, 23.
23.
22.
Both resisting the worst effects of a hangover. You know that you drank a lot last night and you feel heavy, but you don't feel too bad. It was all right, actually. So surprisingly well off, you could say. You wake to the sound of knocking and an excitable voice from outside. Your rooms are actually across the hall from each other, and whatever knocking noise this is happening seems to be going from one to the other. As you hear, ladies, gentlemen, get up, why don't you? Goodness me, we have things to discuss. Plans, it's noon. It's midday, there are adventures to be had.
Shit!
As Guildmaster Shanks, the hilarious drunkard of the Adventurers Guild, wakes the two of you up.
I come out of my room just kind of like half hopping as Theren's still putting his clothes on.
Yeah.
And it's like, is the money here? I have to get back. I have to get down to the guard station. Is it here?
Yes, that's quite sorted. Yes, goodness me. But just wait for Lady Aubrey, Lady Abercrombie briefly. Just a few things to discuss before you depart.
I've definitely just turned over and gone back to sleep.
About 2 to 3 minutes passed and Aubrey hasn't arisen.
30 seconds have passed while Theren is going, come on! Yep, Theren bangs on the door. Aubrey, come on, I need to go.
5 minutes.
No, I will come in the room.
Oh, okay. I'll get up. I was like, put a dressing gown around me.
Okay.
It says Adventurers Guild. And I open the door.
As the door is open, Guildmaster sort of looks up to you and goes, that's actually a good idea. We're coming in briefly, and the two of them sort of go into Aubrey's room. Which has probably been left in even at this stage.
Awful.
Yeah.
I've only been here one night.
Good luck.
I imagine you probably unpacked all of your gear, your belongings. Are you the sort of person that as soon as you hit a hotel room, everything comes out of the bag?
Exploded, yeah.
Yeah. Nothing is kept in a bag. You're just,
Yeah. I know where everything is, so it's fine.
There's a moment where Leighton looks around and sort of goes, well, bugger me. Right. Anyway, and he sort of pulls over and gets a small sort of table and chairs to the balcony by your door. It's a nice room. You can see a view that looks over Yibret itself. You can see just before you the second layer of walls. Further to the right, you imagine, is where the gate is that takes you down to the middle terrace of Yibret. As he sort of opens his robe and sort of gets out a few things from his robe, sticks it on the table. First, there is a small bottle of what appears to be scotch. But he sits down, takes a swig of it quickly.
Midday.
Second one,
It's 5 p.m. somewhere in
gets
Xerieos.
a set of 3 bits of parchment out and sort of moves around into the desk drawers beside to the side of Aubrey's room, opens it up, sort of has to search for it a bit because Aubrey's probably moved everything around, but eventually gets a quill and ink and pops it on the table and says, right, let's keep it uplifting and keep it brief. I had promised you both, all 3 of you, hence the 3 certificates, and I thought I would leave it. Anyway, membership to the Adventurers Guild, as promised, for completion of your last mission. It's formalities, really. There's usually sort of puts on a really fake pair of glasses and looks at him.
Hipster. No glasses.
50 gold annual fee each, but this year's has been paid in advance and settled. You are entitled to 3 board and discounted food and drinks whilst in Yibret. Okay there. Come on, give me a second. You'll go. You need my money, don't you?
Yes, I very much do. I'm
right,
sorry.
Patience, my friend. Patience.
Right,
3 room and board,
It's fine.
as well as heavily discounted drinks and food whilst you're in the Adventurers Guild.
Yes, actually, I have a question regarding the free room and board.
Oh, yes, please.
Is that extended to guests?
God.
She's not going to have any money. She needs to stay somewhere.
Oh,
She can have my room. I'll sleep somewhere else.
Well, Theren, you pay for a room and not how many people go in the bed. That's all I'm saying.
Bright red.
Also, technically speaking, guests, no guests need to pay for their own rooms if they require them. And diplomatically as possible, however, and he just sort of puts a finger on this third piece of parchment, and you can see in the corner of it Blue's name, and just sort of slides it across to you and sort of puts his hands out and says, in your safekeeping for now. So, as members of the Adventurers Guild, you are entitled to use of our facilities in order to request favours of me, and we're asked, just small tasks. If we can get your help occasionally, that is fine. Nothing too onerous, only administrative generally. But more importantly, you have access to the bulletin board. Oh, exciting, isn't it? I can see your eyes light up. You can see his eyes are just like bright yellow at this point, purple skin, the tiefling horns that sort of like almost like wrap around into one thick one at the back, almost creating like a loop. He's an old man, probably 60, 70, you would guess at a push. I am afraid, I was having a look through the book. I have no idea what you have in terms of future work, but if you ever need anything, please do let me know. We pay. I hope you feel decent rates. And sort of flicks for a few notes in the book. And we actually do have a new contract coming up next week. Not for a week, so, but it's an escort and protection for a few weeks down on Godrow. There's some sort of dig going on there that we've been asked to protect. So if you're interested in that, let us know. It's sort of going down. It's they have a budget of 4,000 golds to pay for security, and I would imagine, and you would have my full recommendation, that the two of you would do fine at that if you were interested.
Leighton, is this by any chance similar to the last escort mission we were supposed to be going on?
Well, that's the joy of it, isn't it? You have no idea. But it tells me that your last escort dress was successful. You're a very wealthy man now because of it. I've seen your armour. Theren, you give me that look. That is fine plate armour and was certainly purchased.
I wasn't talking about the armour.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
Two-thirds successful. That's what he's meaning.
Well, most would... Never mind. Look, I am sorry about that. It's wretched business.
It's the risk we take.
It is, quite frankly. It's high pay but high risk work that we do here. We have a reputation for being capable, and that's why we do it. And that's why I'm, given the circumstances, have no hesitation in offering you membership that would take some people years to achieve, and I do give my wholehearted condolences for your loss.
And we thank you for that. I do not wish to come across rude.
No, that is unacceptable. And for you, Theren, and he pulls out another envelope, this time very finely written, but slightly crumpled from his pocket. You can see there's a seal, the adventurous seal, a guild sort of sealed on the, what do you call it? Wax seal, like a bright red wax dripped over it and pressed in. It's a ridiculously over the top like emblem of the guild. You can see there's a buck, there's a griffin, there's a unicorn, there's a dragon, all in various places. Yeah, like it's just crowded. The design work is...
Someone let their daughter do
it. Minimalism would have a good thing to say to this, but he hands the envelope to you. It is a note to the prison master, as discussed, effectively saying of the payment of the contract. I was going to talk to you about this. I am happy to cover the payment as a loan, effectively, for future services to the guild, or you can choose to settle some of that with me now, based on the payment from the night before. It's up to you.
What do you mean settle it with you now? I only have a little over 3,000 and you're giving me the rest.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. I was going to loan you the rest, effectively, for future services.
Right, so as in I give you the half now.
Well, that's what I mean. So we can either say, because at the moment, and he sort of flicks through his notes, the bail on this lady. I don't have an up-to-date figure. Last time we spoke, it was about... Check through his notes.
I'm
Theren
slowly going around trying to
digs
put
into a cloak and brings out a burgundy sort of notepad.
Very good.
Massively, quickly flicks through it and goes, last time I checked it was 6,534 gold pieces exactly. That was before leaving. May have been reduced in the 5 weeks, did you say we've been away?
Yes, indeed. 6,500.
just going around putting.
So I have got this written down. I'm just
places.
going to write it down again. 6,534, was it?
That's correct.
Yep.
Making the bed slightly.
Exactly. Now that will need to be paid in full, and I'm happy to cover the entire amount as a bonuses of a loan, or, as agreed previously, I can take an element of that from you now and just loan you the rest. But on the sign of good faith, I'm willing to play it either way you want, whichever.
The 3,214 is in a chest in my room. Help yourself to that whenever you wish. And I take the envelope from and stuff.
Wonderful. Well, that's very kind of you. I shall do just that.
I'm imagining you now just sharpening your axe with a
I'm
whetstone.
I've gently been putting things
Yeah.
away whilst you guys are talking.
Creeping towards
Yeah.
Theron's room.
No, I'm cleaning my stuff.
We'll call it a neat 3,000 for now, and we'll work from there. I can't strip him out of everything he has. Perfect.
Thank you.
So,
Put that money back.
I have no idea what the two of you intend to do, but as I say, room and board is yours. Theren, I know that you have short-term plans, but I'd speak more as a longer-term concept. I am around for advice, for guidance. Do ask if I can do anything for you, and I shall endeavour as best I can.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Guild Master.
That's quite all right. We have, as part and parcel of successful ventures, a tradition of sorts, is to throw a little bit of a banquet planned for this evening. 7 p.m. Please, you both would appreciate it if you came. Guests, of course, you are allowed to bring up to 2 guests each. Vincent and Odie will be there. We've taken the liberty of inviting Captain Sarcher, who I know you know. Drazda, of course, will be there. But, as I say...
Can I quickly ask
please.
about Drazda? Because
Yes.
she was sort of on here on, not loan, but on the sort of request of sort of Odie looking after him. Like, what
Yes.
would happen now, seeming that her presumably guardian, which was blue by default, is no longer with us currently?
Well, in light of the circumstances and the way that Odie has really taken her under her wing, effectively, Drazda's actually been sharing accommodation with Odie. We've moved Odie into one of the suites with a little sort of annex room, effectively.
I didn't think of that.
She's effectively looking after her. As far as I'm aware, last time I spoke, Odie's happy to pay the additional fees to look after Drazda and is doing so for the meantime.
Very kind of her. But I'm sure.
Drazda herself, she's been a little, well, closeted. I do assume from the books and from the interests that she holds that she does like to keep herself to herself somewhat. But yes, retreated, certainly worried at your departure, and it did seem upset last night. I will continue to look out for her.
Thank you.
She seems to read, mostly.
Would you please let Odie know that if she requires any help with participating towards any costs in keeping Drazda here,
we would
Aubrey and I are more than happy.
I certainly shall, but do feel free to ask her yourself. You'll see her tonight.
True.
I just meant before then, I'll be rushing off very shortly.
I understand.
Quickly, about this banquet.
Yes.
Is it a formal affair? Do we have to dress up?
Well, if you have fine clothes, that would be fantastic. It's all about, how do I put this? Say, you'll understand as being from a trading background. If you sell wares, the better the wares, the better the reputation, the better the custom. Part of what we do is the storytelling. Oh yes, you may go. Go.
Oh, I'm sorry. Theren openly looking horrified at the idea of dressing up for anything.
Oh, I see what you... Oh, right. Yes, come on now.
We'll go shopping later.
He'd look dapper in a set of dress robes. Oh, yes. You can help him get something, yes?
We'll do a shopping montage
You'll understand, Theren. It's all part
I'm
of the pizzazz, the presentation of affairs. We need to sell ourselves as an organisation to get the interests of the nobility who pay the way.
Oh, we can cut your hair as well. It's
We'll yes, just go.
I'll meet you later in town.
All right.
Bye.
Gone.
Wonderful. And Aubrey, I had a note this morning from that Carmian fellow. He said he was going to drop in just before the banquet. He just as a bit of a debrief. Be around your room. We'll let him in. I'm sure you'll find you.
It's clearly the meeting place.
Or the bar, wherever you are. Quite frankly, you're quite easy to spot.
It's fine. Yeah, well, I guess I should tidy it.
Yeah.
Is there still like a slight dent in the wall next to the door where Theren tried to blindly bash his way in?
It's
Not blindly. Drunk. Oh yeah, we were blind as well.
Yeah,
we were
we
blind
were
and
drunk.
drunk. Yeah. Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's kind of been scrubbed and polished.
But we know it's still
structural damage is structural damage. Yeah, exactly. So,
Knee's not been the same since.
Aubrey, the open question to you to think about just for a second is you
Yes,
effectively have the day to yourself. So think about general things you want to do. The two of you, unless you want to be shooting off in some direction quickly, will be in your Brit for a couple of days. So just have a think about the sort of downtime activities you want to get up to. But
yes, I think there's something more important.
Theren,
Sprinting now.
I assume you sprinting down.
Holding it tightly and sprinting.
It's like Willy Wonka and Charlie Brown and a golden ticket.
Basically, yeah.
Okay. You make your way up and round the corner to the Ybrit Stockade. Now, I just want to get its full name. It is briefly, because I want to try and be consistent where I can. But, of course, in my book, I've totally lost it all of a sudden. I'm just delaying this just to wind over.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Oh, sorry. I thought I'd find it.
I love the fact we're going to have
Right,
to
anyway,
shopping.
you make your way up there. You meet the guards from the outside with a fairly... They don't quite recognise you, but with a... They let you through to see the prison master. He invites you into his office. Haven't seen you in a while.
Yes, I've been away.
Yes.
Do you
I
have
can
a...
see that.
Sorry, I'm very sorry. Do you have a glass of water?
And he sort of very reluctantly gets a sort of pitcher of quite dusty looking water, puts it into an equally dusty looking glass, sort of swirls it around a little bit and hands it to you.
Make a constitution save.
So are we running just because you want to see your lady or anything else?
This letter has enough to cover everything required for her to be released this instant.
His eyebrows raise at that point and takes it from you. He looks at the guild sign. Flicks it open, sits in his chair. He slowly opens it. Leaves you standing in the middle of the room. You can see all around you. It's a fairly barren office that has been decorated with things of very minimal value to look more important than it is. You can see various paintings of quite drably drawn landscapes, mostly ledgers, not so much books, but ledgers thick full of files. You can see various manacles, swords, bits of prison equipment on the walls, but it's a bit of a plain room, and it takes him a good 3-4 minutes to open the seal, very careful with the knife, so pops it back on his table, opens the letter, reads it again, using line by line. You see his eyesight's not the best, so he's sort of squinting as he goes through it. Puts it down, folds it up, sort of sticks it in a pocket. Alright then. Yeah. Well, stay here, please. Sort of gets out, leaves the room. Shortly after him departing, a very large female guard comes in. You can see very burly, hair tied back, with a sort of gruff, bouncer-like pose as she stands just watching you in the office.
Imagine Theren's still just kind of in the stuff that he wears underneath the plate armour. Hasn't got any of it on. Just bare Chloris side and standing there with his arm folded, just sort of tapping.
Yeah, perfect. And actually, it's amazing because you haven't been like that in a little while. It's amazing how heavy the plate armor is. Running up the hill, you're glad you didn't do it. As it's about a 20-minute wait. You're there for some time. I imagine Theren probably starts pacing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, backwards and forwards. You can see she just sort of like doesn't start watching you, and is sort of very passively bored, but also like just watching to see if you get up to anything. Every time you go over to like the desk, she sort of raises an eyebrow until you leave again. But after about 20 minutes, you can hear footsteps from outside of the room coming up the stairs from the bottom of the sort of the lower levels of the prison. And the door is opened, and the prison master comes back in, accompanied by another member of the guard with a large sack slung over his shoulder that has proceeded to just go boom onto the floor in front of the desk. And then following, accompanied by another guard, is Kazaki. You can still see hands bound in manacles. She is dressed very plainly in prison robes that effectively are no better than a sort of tunic held in at the waist by a very loose rope, effectively. No shoes. Her hair fallen down to her sides, much longer than you remember it. That sort of dirty, sort of red, flaming brown, sort of changeable colours, but greasy and dirty. You can see sort of bags around her eyes. She sort of is very confused, looking around, her eyes still clearly adjusting to the light being the biggest thing, but she clocks you after a few moments and has to double take and looks a little confused, and then sort of looks at the bag, and you can see the realisation beginning to dawn on what's happening. Clearly she hasn't been told up to this point, just dragged from her cell. And there's a sort of make an insight check.
She's pleased to see you.
Find insight 16.
There is the briefest of smiles, one that you probably wouldn't want you to catch.
Great.
As there's a relief and a genuine pleasure to see you, before the tiredness in her expression quickly evaporates and a stoic, much similar expression to what you're used to, that stoic, trained military expression comes back to her face. And she sort of looks straight at the prison master. Can you tell me at least what this is, please? Yes, well, this one here's seen to it that your bail has been paid. I'd like to formally state on the record that you remain guilty, charged, and forever guilty of the crimes you've committed, but at this moment of time, your sentence has been served. You're free to go, but we know who you are. And he sort of looks over at you, and we know who you are as well. Members of the Order are not welcome here. I suggest you make yourselves scarce when you can. Now, off with you. And you can see the bag is sort of kicked slowly towards like Kazaki, who reluctantly, was a moment of like, you can see the martial training in her sort of beginning, that same reaction that Theren would give, where she sort of, the moment she goes, ooh, but she restrains herself, picks the bag up, and you can see just sort of slings it over her shoulder.
Theren walks over,
Kills them all.
sort of places a hand on her shoulder and grabs the bag. Well, sort of goes to take the bag from her.
Make a persuasion check.
Natural one!
Ooh, good start.
No.
Good start.
There's a moment where you try and do it, and she definitely like recoils away and is like, no, it's fine, thank you, and holds the bag and moves out.
He nods, turns to the captain, and just kind of goes, "Thank you, Captain Lynchfield. I'm sure we'll speak soon."
Well, let's hope we don't, eh? Backs you away. And then Super seems to sit behind his chair, sticks his feet on the desk and just sort of watches you.
Theren turns, kind of gestures for Kazaki to...
Yeah, he's already beginning to leave the room.
Yeah, follows her out.
Perfect. And the two of you make your way out of the guardhouse.
Yeah, doesn't say anything until they get out.
Kazaki probably gets about 20... Well, no, she wouldn't even do that. She'd leave the guardhouse. You can see she sort of powers forward purposefully until she sort of rounds a corner and then sort of leans against the wall. You can see still her eyes squinting against the sun. The skin incredibly pale. Clearly hasn't been out of sunlight for some time. You can see her shivering slightly. It's cold. It's very cold, close to freezing today.
Takes the cloak, puts it around her.
Thank you. Is there anywhere I can...
I have lodgings at the Adventurers Guild.
Oh,
We can get you all freshen up there. I sort of have a thing that... Well, you don't. You obviously you're not. You don't need to. You. It's up to you if you want to.
What is it, Theren?
There is a. there's a feast, a banquet of sorts. I thought
Right.
you might like that idea.
Food sounds amazing. At this point, can we? It's very cold.
Yes, that's
Thank
fine. I'll give you the details as we walk. I sort of need to go shopping for some fancy clothes.
Right. Well, hello. First off, nice to see you.
Sorry,
You've been some time.
Yeah, it was. There was a lot happened.
I would assume so.
Oh.
Was it?
I'll give you the story as we go. It's a long one, and
Okay.
it's not particularly happy.
She nods and follows.
And as we go to the Adventurers Guild, I tell her everything.
Yeah.
The job that we went on, going through the Shadowfell. I catch her up about Bearclaw, about being visited by Perith.
Yeah.
Ooh. Everything except the vision that Aubrey and Theren were shown about the Cataclysm.
Okay. So literally everything except from Cataclysm.
The
Yeah.
last bit.
Okay.
The last thing he talks about, though, is Blue.
Right.
And who he was and what Blue meant to Theren. And the fact that Blue almost came to visit her once and brought her food.
Yeah.
But they didn't
Do
let it in.
you take the time to give all the detail of the story? Because she listens. So
He would...
we're talking, are you giving the 10-minute version or are you giving the couple of hour version?
Ooh.
Because she will listen. So if
How long
it's
would it
going to
take
take
to
you... So essentially what happens then is Theren, you take her back to the Adventurers Guild where she's signed in. Which you going to sort of take her to so that she uses your accommodation, or are you going to take her to Blue's? What would be the thing you would do?
Theren will take her to his...
Okay, fine. So she makes her
Fine.
way. Sort of essentially requests. Once she's in the room, she proceeds to basically eat. Orders in some food. Is very grateful that food seems to be delivered very quickly, almost too quickly.
Leighton, wingmanning.
And you can see she takes some time to listen to the story. A couple of hours pass. She hears it all and sort of nods. That's quite a tale. Please, and she sort of holds her hand up. Do you mind if I hold Bearclaw? Sort of takes it.
It's going to feel quite strange.
Yes. Theren, this is a dreadful sword. She sort of looks at it. I mean,
It is designed only
it's
for
slightly
me.
rusty. Its blade needs keeping. Hands it
Doesn't
back
look
to
that
you.
way to me, does it?
No. She rifles, sort of unpacked her bags, and you can see all of her equipment is there. You can see the original novitiate chainmail it was that you started with, wasn't it? So she has a very similar set, and you can see a few things are pulled out. Not a standard issue, but a replaced metal shield. You can see very long and thin that seems to have almost been blended to sort of put across her arm. But you can see the like a sort of padded up and protected by clothing and wrapped up she pulls out a long, familiar item that she sort of unwraps and spends a lot of time sort of getting it out. And you can see she gets her katana out, and sort of you can see sort of just sort of checks the blade. It still looks immediately sharp and sort of gives it a couple of swings. You can see that she's sort of rusty, puts her shoulder helping a little bit, but adjusts quickly, sort of hands the katana to you. That's what a blade should feel like, Theren.
As Theren takes it, he kind of, does the whole warrior testing thing, hands it back, and goes,
It feels really unbalanced.
"You're right, yes, that is a true weapon. I still can't believe the Order let you keep that for so long. It's..."
Once I proved my effectiveness with it, they were sort to accept the heritage. Put it that way.
Well, it's beautiful.
You... Thank you, Theren. You've given me a lot to think about. I'm very grateful to be out. I need a little time to.
Of course,
I'll points down. And she's filthy.
I'll leave you to.
Thank you.
I'll be downstairs.
What? You mentioned more food later this evening.
Yes, there's a.
I'm sorry to be blunt, but that sounds.
No, it's
just
absolutely
glorious.
fine. Yes, there's a feast. I'm assuming drinks as well, if the guildmaster is anything to go by.
Drinks.
Yes.
I see.
What?
I didn't realise you drank, Theren.
Well, not until I'd left the Order. There was. Do you remember the
Left
Athena?
the Order?
No, as in went on my.
Right.
Right.
Sorry.
Do you remember when I was telling you about the Athena?
Yes.
Yes. When I first spoke to Parith.
Yes.
Yes, that was after we just won the battle, and I was talking to Aubrey, and she was.
Yes, you've mentioned Aubrey a few times.
Yes, not grieving would be the right word, but
Right.
she was upset, and I wanted to do what I could, so I drank. Port, I think they call it.
Yes, I think I've heard of it.
It's disgusting. Never have it.
It sounds it.
It was, yes.
Right.
Anyway,
Thank you, Theren. 7, did you say?
yes. I'll get out of your hair. Although we will need to go shopping. You look fine. You do. I mean, I need.
Right.
I don't have a right. I'm going to go now.
Call it 3 o'clock. I'll see them downstairs.
Right. Yes.
Right.
I'll be the one that looks like. Okay. Bye.
She's equally as awkward at this point. Yeah, right.
The worst rom-com ever, I'm dying.
So, Aubrey, what are you up to?
Right.
Why didn't I play as her?
I would like to make my way
Because I look lovingly at you enough.
Yeah, true.
to the Temple of Perith, please.
Temple of Paris.
What?
Okay.
Am I missing it?
So, you make your way over. It's that familiar white marble building in the cold of the winter's day with your breath sort of billowing out from you. It sort of shimmers in an icy way. You can see ice has formed in various places on top of the cathedral, and has marked the cracks in the building to an extent. But you make your way up and in that familiar sort of, not quite emptiness. There's probably about 8-9 people
Oh, okay.
worshipping in different places, but not anything like the familiar sort of roar you can hear from the left of you from the Cathedral of Zana.
No worry, I'll be there soon. I just want to not corner someone, talk to someone, one of the priests.
You can easily talk to somebody. Yeah, there are priests hanging around, so are you looking for anyone in particular or just any priest?
Hello. I'm not supposed to be here.
Sorry.
That's a reference to an earlier episode.
Sorry.
Earlier in joke. I'll just talk to. Sorry, is there someone I could talk to about a number of matters, but privately?
Of course. You can see a lady probably in her early 20s in sort of priest robes. Anything you'd like. How can I help?
Can we go somewhere deep?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And sort of moves you over to like a small side chapel, effectively, like in the side of the building. It's a little bit more closed off. How may I listen?
I don't know how this works per se, so I'm just gonna talk for a bit. Please interrupt when
Please.
you want to. A lot's happened to me recently, and I'm struggling to deal with it. And I sort of wait to see what her reaction is.
She sort of looks, and there's like empathy in her look. What is your name?
Aubrey.
Aubrey. Well, would you like to tell me about it?
I hope so. So, about 2 seasons ago, is that how it is? I don't know if it's like... Sorry, that's no. A lot's happened since I've started my journey to Ybrit. I died. I've come back.
Eyes widen at this point.
I carry on.
I'm really... Let me go and get the high priest.
Cool.
Right. Immediately wonderful. And about 5 minutes...
This is beyond my pay grade.
Laugh my head off.
And about 5 minutes later, you see the familiar, kindly but much wiser, much elderly female figure of High Priest
Have I
Ray
met her?
Welter. I don't know if you
I don't
have
think I
actually.
have met her,
So
no.
you would see a lady in her late 50s, grey hair, very delicately tied up, again in the High Priestess robes, looking very immaculate, but very plainly dressed.
Theren probably would have mentioned her.
Sure, but I've not met her.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
You would have known
I
that
know
Theren
who
would
she
have
is.
sought her out at some point, yeah.
No worries.
Sorry, Aubrey,
Oh, hello.
yes,
Sorry, I seem to have scared off one of your...
No, it's... Well... not many people have died and then tell the tale. Please, go ahead. And this time she sort of leads you over to a pew and sits you down in the sort of the side of the temple.
Cool.
So,
as I was saying, a lot's happened to me recently. I've died. I've come back. I got sent to another plane. That wasn't very fun. I came back from the other plane. I lost a friend who was very important to me. And I argue with the other friend who's very important to me. And I sort of, again, put my head in my hands. I can do things that I couldn't do before. I can perform amazing feats of strength. I can outrun pretty much anything. I can shoot lightning. I can breathe underwater. And I don't know what to do. Context. My family have always been gifted in the magical skills, arcane arts. My sisters were like some of the best spellcasters in Halfling. Really, fucking edge. And then there was me, who had no gifts and no talents. So that the black sheep heir to the throne. Which was cool by me, I guess. But now these things keep happening and I'm worried that it's magic. I don't know what to do.
magic often does run in families. There are well-documented traits of sorceress bloodlines, of naturally occurring magics in elementals, fey creatures, even celestials. But lightning, I'm afraid, is not often something in the jurisdiction of Perith, who tends to be more of a goddess of light. But if there's one thing I've learnt, there is a power ordinarily associated with all forms of magic, be it innate sorceress, arcane, divine. Our divine magics come from Perith herself, but even druids, for instance, their natural sense of magic will come, in a sense, from a god or goddess of some kind. I do not believe that elemental magic is any different. You are a person of great travel, great experience, to have travelled to planes, to have been brought back from the dead, to wield new powers that perhaps not unexpected given your families and or seemingly power gifted to them, but certainly has come about in a different way. I think it would be worth seeking somebody out, but perhaps somebody with a bit more knowledge in the area.
Sure.
She sort of thinks to herself for a second. It's been some time. There's an area, a set of islands far to the west of Yibret, called Red Sands. I used to know somebody, a high priest of Horanor, the traveller god, long associated with exploration, the seas, the weather, courage, anger, but, well, flight, you could say. Not in the sense of the word of actually flying, but in the sense of wanting to travel and to live. He was a wise man. I would suggest you seek him out. He might be able to give you more help than I can. But my guidance to you, to experience everything you have and survive, takes a certain willpower, a certain drive, hardiness or otherwise. Continue to believe in yourself. That's the most important piece of advice I could give you.
I appreciate that, but and I thank you for the advice. But my worry.
Sorry for your loss.
Yes, I put a pin in that. We'll come back to that. But my fear is that if it is magical, I've spent my whole life being on the receiving end of magic, being controlled nearly every day of my life. So you can imagine suddenly discovering what could be magic in my life that I could use is quite a overwhelming feeling. And I just don't know what to do. I feel like I'm not who I am anymore. I feel broken.
There are tales of creatures exposed for long periods of time to magic and having themselves changed by it. I've heard tales long ago of dwarves imprisoned by horrible creatures of psychic powers, illithids, mind flayers, trapped for generations and generations of enslaved nature, and they became dark, evil creatures that ventured underground. They were experienced by magic and were corrupted and warped by it. But that is only one half of the coin. The other face of it is those who are exposed to magic, and instead of letting it rule them, they rule it. There is an upside to every negative event. Every loss can be a lesson. Every punishment, strengthening exercise. Every curse, a gift. If you know how to shed light on it in the right way.
Perith puts a positive spin on everything. I like it.
Indeed. Not everything, but most things.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. what you said before about my friend. So when I said they've gone, they've not, well, in a way, they've turned to stone.
Turned to stone?
Yeah, petrified, I believe is the term.
By a spell?
By magic. I think...
What happened?
And I explain what happened.
She thinks to herself for a second. I'm so sorry to hear that.
I was told by a contact that the high priest of Perith, that's a different thing, could have ways of doing it, but to ask for such a service would be at great cost and maybe unlikely that they would do it because obviously your duty is here.
To cure somebody of petrification is possible.
Mm-hmm.
It certainly is easier than raising somebody from the dead, where death is a permanent,
Well,
in theory, but a more permanent state of being. Petrification is an imprisonment of the body.
Yes.
There are magics, greater restorative magics, possibly a 5th level.
You say such strange things. The words of Perith.
There are magics that can rid of this of somebody, and they are magics I am capable of.
Mm-hmm.
Can this person be brought to the cathedral?
Now, I did try, but apparently you can't fit a whole person into a bag of holding.
There's a slight confusion on her face, but she... Right. I imagine a person made of stone would be fairly heavy as well.
I mean, that's one could assume. Sorry.
My duties are here to the cathedral and to my flock. I cannot leave.
But if we had some way to bring this person here, would you be willing?
I could help.
Right.
I'm afraid the nature of the spell casting, the nature of my request from Perith, the energy required to perform such services, I would, well, the church would require a donation in lieu of services such as that.
Understandable.
It would be expensive.
A rough ballpark figure?
2,500 gold pieces.
Oh, okay. Good to know. She writes it down.
If you can be brought.
If you can be brought, of course. Thank you. I won't take much more of your time, but the only thing I'd ask, I assume this would happen anyway, but I'd appreciate if you kept this sort of conversation about what I said about magic and emotions.
Say no
between
more.
us. Thank you. Yeah. Cool. I just say goodbye. Slowly walk away.
And she lets you out. Okay.
Thank you.
As you're leaving, she calls you back briefly and just as a thought. And if you cannot be brought here, there are other ways. You've heard of scrolls.
Yes, I've heard of them.
Assuming somebody with divine magic could accompany you to the place of your friend's petrification, and they could use a scroll of greater restoration, that might work. Scrolls are more expensive, but it allows you a certain level of maneuverability, put it that way.
I see. Thank you.
I'm afraid I do not have such a scroll here, but there may be others in your Brit that do.
Yes. I can imagine. As you can tell, I have very little experience with magic and magical items. I don't show her the wand of war mage I have in my possession. Don't show her that.
Okay, you don't share. Yeah.
Just like
that is in your pocket. Fine.
Cool. I shake her hand. And I
Just pick your nose with it.
it's behind my ear. Cool.
So,
Yeah.
make your way out of the food.
Yes.
Fine. So, before the banquet, is there anything else you want to do? I know you're looking for formal clothing.
Yes, there's one other thing.
Yep.
Theren needs to go to the Ubrit post office.
Okay. Yep. Perfect.
So I assume when Cass is ready and all sorted out and they're leaving, Theren like, I need to go and take care of something quickly. It'll only take a minute.
Yes, I'll see it through.
Okay, right. I don't know where we're supposed to meet. Unless you want to come with me. That might...
I need some time.
Great.
But thank you.
Alright, there's a man downstairs. His name's Leighton Shanks. He's the guildmaster.
Right.
He already knows who you are.
Okay.
Right. If you ask him
Boy, does he.
where we should meet, I'll ask him the same. He'll give you the name of a shop and I presume we'll meet outside that.
Or I could just meet you here at 3.
Yes, of course. I mean, otherwise, I was just thinking...
Well, let's do that then.
All right, then I'll be back here at 3.
Okay, thank you. And she sort of closes the door on you.
Slow.
As Theron's walking off, he's just going, stupid.
That's so cute.
Stupid.
So, are you looking for formal clothes?
Yes, but before then, we want to find Leighton on the way out.
Okay.
Quickly,
Yep.
if that's okay.
My boy sat in his favourite chair by the fire already,
Not
swaying
moved.
ever so slightly.
It is going so terribly.
She's just got out of prison, man. Give her some time.
I don't know what to say. I've suddenly lost the ability to form words.
Was she still in her prison clothes?
Yes.
Well, give her some time. Good God, man. Go get some clothes. Go.
Right. I've got to go take care of that
Well,
thing
do
I
that
told
then.
you about last night first.
Go,
right.
go,
Okay.
go. Sort of like
I'll be
pushes you out
back
the
here at 3. Why are you pushing me? Okay.
There's a smile on his face as he does it.
To the post office.
Okay.
The message is
Fine. You go to Gibrit sending and receiving.
That's the one.
Look. Sending some messages, it's called specifically. So
What, YSM?
yeah. So you go there, and again you see that familiar chaos of people sort of sorting mails, scrolls. There is a lot of cargo packages as well as letters, but everything you sort of you can see the guildmaster makes his way over. It will probably be an assistant of the guildmaster sort of makes his way. Oh yes, can I help you? You can see a sort of middle-aged man with thin spectacles sort of squints at you.
Yes, I'm very sorry. I made use of your services some 5 weeks ago, and I must say I've entirely forgotten the pricing structure.
Well, what would you like to do?
I need to send a message. It's quite important.
Okay, where to? He sort of gets a big book out.
Hartley.
Hartley. Right. And sort of puts his pen in. And your name?
Theren.
Theren. And is sort of moving through the sort of books. And sort of scans over to a line on the second journal. Sort of eyes pop up. Of the order?
Mm-hmm.
Alaric?
Alaric, but yes.
He draws a thing on just the side of the L, like very clearly correcting it on the ledger. Okay. You actually have some post. And he sort of brings out a very official looking parchment. You can see wrapped up in with the sign of the order. Sort of stamped on it, holding it closed, and sort of hands it to you.
I take it.
Would you still like to send some mail to that location?
Yes, could I read this first, though?
Yes, of course. Yes, and sort of just continues his scribbles.
What does it say?
So, it says, Theren. Oh no, it probably says, no, it says novitiate. Theren.
Great, it's from
Underlined.
that.
Thank you for your correspondence. The High Inquisitor would like you to know that your correspondence has been noted and that no action is required. Your assistance with this matter has been noted. And it's signed off, clerk to High Inquisitor Theren, Alec.
Isn't he champion?
Champion.
Whatever.
Not bad. Yes.
So
He was High Inquisitor, but now he is champion. That is a very good point. So it's basically just, it's signed as a very formal, thank you for your letter, but we will not be replying or acting further.
Theren literally goes.
Phew.
Alright, do you have some paper and a quill?
Yes, of course. That'll be 5 copper pieces.
Pays it.
Yeah.
Right, I'll need a few minutes.
Please.
Do you think? Come back to me, I've got to write a letter.
Cool.
Okay, fine. I mean, if you can tell me if you do. I mean, if you want to keep
think
quiet, in which case you can.
I mean,
Up to you.
I mean, I do have something. It's very quick though. If you need to.
go do that then. Yeah.
Literally, it is to go to the temple of Xarnor and ask about the next tournament.
Okay. Here we go. So, Temple of Xarnor. You are told by the assistant there.
Mm-hmm.
So you. Hang on, where's my notes? You
Sorry.
arrived. No, it's fine. It's just this is great because we jump around all over the place.
Yeah,
And it makes me feel like I'm not prepared, but I'm really prepared. But it just sometimes it just
where
goes
is the in the thing?
absolutely everywhere. So you returned on the 20th of winter.
Yeah.
It is the 21st of winter,
Is
which is a Sunday. The next tournament
Mm-hmm.
is the following Saturday, the
Ooh.
27th.
Good to know.
So it is the 21st.
Cool. I will
Today.
like to put myself forward for the tournament then.
Okay,
Sure.
fantastic. Your name is noted from the previous ledger. You are invited to take part in a fight that day, if you would choose.
No, not that day.
Wonderful. So you are invited back at any point between the 22nd and the 25th to make a small preliminary round to qualify, and then you
Sure.
are put forward.
Perfect. And I ask how the tournament's been going, and if the mysterious lady has won any more things.
Oh, what, with the 2 blades?
Yeah, she doesn't have a
you can see
name.
the sort of, he sort of looks down. Oh, yes, she's won 2 other tournaments. The only 2 that she's competed in so far. The other weeks,
She not turned up.
no, just, she doesn't come to everyone. Well, quite
It's
frankly,
been
we
5
wouldn't let
weeks, though.
people. There's a certain, well,
Yeah.
we like to
That's
give
true.
everybody a chance, otherwise it wouldn't be fun for the patrons. But the Vulcan, the Minotaur, he won a tournament.
Okay.
And one of the members of the Blades Guild, he's won a couple as well.
Oh, the foppish chap.
No, his master.
Oh yeah.
Yes, he came down.
Ooh. Good to know. Okay. Cool. If the mysterious lady does turn up, can you say I'm looking for her, and if she wants to chat, I'm at the Adventurers Guild.
I shall do.
I understand it's very unlikely she would want to do it.
No, please.
Leave her a
I
message.
will tell her.
Thank you.
Okay.
And now I go dress shopping. Shopping.
Okay.
That's me done.
So,
Thank
you
you.
go dress shopping. And I
I've
see
not
you
finished this yet, however, I'm going to hand it to you later.
in the
So,
break. That'll be fine. That'll be
yeah, Theren
Sorry.
will.
fine. Are you sending it snail mail?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, run me through the pricing structure.
It's like
It'll be about 5 gold.
For snail,
yeah.
then it can go snail.
Perfect. Signs it over. In fact, no, 5 silver. I'm so sorry. No, for snail mail, we're just on a cargo
Really
ship.
expensive.
Yeah, that's
What's
fine.
the other one?
If you wanted it to sort of commission somebody,
Yeah,
it would effectively be about 50 gold, but it would be a much...
snail mail's fine.
Yeah. Wonderful.
I got a formal letter back. They can have snail mail.
Yeah, you send it snail mail all the way there, so
Exactly.
yeah. Cool.
Okay.
Great. Then, as soon as he's paid that, he is going to rush back to the Adventurers Guild. We can get there for 3.
Okay. I mean, you're really early. You get back at like 1:30.
Great. He's going to get there and pace.
Right.
Oh my god.
Fantastic. Eventually, Kisaki makes her way down, and you can see again she has the katana sort of sheathed on her side in a very similar way to how Theren carries his longsword as well. But like Theren, not wearing his armor, not wearing her armor at the moment, she's dressed in sort of formal white tunic robes of combo. You can see like a very neatly presented tunic with sort of long sides down each side, some sort of leather breeches effectively. Her hair this time tied back into a very tight ponytail, but much cleaner, much sort of just much more regal, you could say, in her appearance. Theren,
Cass.
you haven't been waiting long, have you?
No, I only just got here.
Deception check.
Jeez.
Oh, man.
15.
Oh, that's good. Right, well,
Just kind of glances at...
you said you needed to get some formal clothes.
Yes, but I genuinely have no idea what to wear. Actually, Leighton.
God.
My boy!
Bring the whole crew.
Sort of like rocks back his chair so you can almost like see behind him. What is it?
I don't know if you've... Leighton Shanks, Guildmaster Shanks, this is Kisaki.
You can see he's like halfway through your sentence, he has swooped out of his chair with a flourish of cape and like glass on one side.
Scotch.
He goes and puts a hand on Kisaki, visibly like tightens up when he does it. My dear, it's a pleasure to meet you. Theren's told me all about you. Nothing but bad things, I'll have you know. And she sort of... Right, it's a pleasure.
Theren mouths, he's not actually drunk.
Ooh.
Nope.
I hate him.
So, I hope he's looking after you. You've got plans for the afternoon, do you? Yes. Yes, Guildmaster. What dress code is it? What requirements do we need for this evening's banquet?
And where's best to go for this? I've never shopped.
Oh, just go towards the market. Yes, you'll find places in the market. That's absolutely fine. Or if you want something really fancy, which and he elbows Kisaki slightly just on the side. This man can afford it, you know. You might want to go to either the Merchants Guild Hall or the Tailors Guild Hall, especially if you want something commissioned. Might be able to do it at if you're worth it, huh? Sort of gives you a wink.
The death stare is now just...
Oh, he's totally unfazed. He's like... So it doesn't even hold your gaze long enough for the death stare to work. He's just all over the place at this point. Right, well, I'll leave you two to it. Do shout if you need anything from this old man.
Right, shall we?
She sort of... Right, yes, Tell me, are they all like that here?
He's not actually drunk.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. You head down. All the buildings are in the same place. You go towards the market, and you can see the bustle of the market is busy. Not quite as busy as in the morning, but still there are people everywhere.
Great.
You can see shops of various types all around. Various places you've seen before. You can see there's a couple of taverns, guild halls. You can see the Scriveners Guild Hall from the previous time you were there. The bakery is there as well, amongst food stores, clothing stores. You can see the Tailors Guild Hall is a wooden building with whitewashed walls made to look very much like, almost it feels like if somebody dressed a house up as a ghost. It's the weirdest sort of, just flat white on everything, even the doors and the windows. You see there's a couple of other places. Gumbo's General Store, you know of it, but you've never been to it yourself. You can see a smaller shop sort of put right into the small, sort of the kind of squidged into the edge of the square called the Pale Tincture. You can see just things everywhere.
Okay.
Things everywhere. Don't you dare go to Gumbo's.
When they get outside the Tailors Guild Hall, Theren turns to Kisaki and says, I've never dressed up for anything.
I'm afraid I don't really have any money.
I have money. We're fine.
Yes, you mentioned. I assume.
Well,
right.
I mean, I presume we just walk in and someone. I don't know. I don't know how this works.
Well, is your armor and weapons and rations all in good order? Do you need to allocate funds for that, or
Everything is fine. I'm keeping it all reasonably stocked up.
right? Well, Taylor's Guildhall.
Yes, although after that, I do need to return to the forge. If you would care to accompany me.
Yes, I think we both. Yeah, that sounds fine.
Great. All right. After you, and he just sort of gestures in. Or maybe, should I? And he walks in.
Okay. You can see the indecision on there. This is the case, but that. Aubrey, would you have made your way there as well? 'Cause this would probably be the time you
Please
would
say
make
we're
that.
bumping into each other.
I assume so. I would assume
You would
being
know
a trader.
of the Taylor's Guildhall because you would have traded with them before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I would make my way there. I'm not going to go to any of these. Definitely not going to Gumbo's. I'm going to go to the best.
Just kind of
I would
like
imagine at this point, Theren, you walking in with Kisaki, you can see around you there are little stalls based in the alcoves around this guild hall, effectively. A bit like in the Jeweller's Guild Hall, lots of different people placing their trade. Various ages, various different textiles, lots of jewellery, but also lots of there's capes, coats, and one that appears to be much more sort of finery. You can see dresses, suits, just tunics, all kinds of robes, of beautiful fine clothing. And you can see a man, another half-elf, with his hair very flamboyantly tied back and swept back, his ponytail sort of held almost sort of just below his lower back. You can see just very immaculately plaited, almost white hair, as he sort of keeps sort of flicking a thing flamboyantly at the other side of his ear, just in the despair, going, no, you must stay still. I can't take your measurements. It's a very embarrassed looking Aubrey at this point, red-faced,
awful,
just awkwardly like, I just gave you that measurement.
I'm not.
And he's just like taking his tape measure and like stretching. Oh, you have very strong arms.
Thank you.
Theren
They're all
leans
natural.
to the side and just goes, "That's Aubrey."
Oh God, the
Kasaki's
worst
gonna look
point
at
to
you.
see her.
That explains a lot.
My God.
Now, dear, arms up, and he sort of again very
Skin the
trusively
rabbit.
starts putting this measuring tape on various places, and it's just right. And so, what sort of finery are you looking for?
I want something with pockets, deep pockets.
Pockets.
Yes.
What do you need pockets for?
Because I need to put stuff in them. My hands
You
mostly.
said this was for a banquet.
Yes.
What are you going to be doing? Stuffing your pockets with food?
At
Goodness
this point,
me!
sorry, I've got to do it. Theren sort of calls out reasonably audibly. I wouldn't protest on that. She really does need pockets.
He swoops around flamboyantly to look at you. Well, you're just going to have to wait your turn. Fine,
So-
we can do pockets if
Thank
you want,
you.
but I honestly... Right, dress or suit, or what are we going for today?
I guess. I'll go for dress.
Dress, okay.
Could you make it a blue colour, please?
Blue, yes. So you can see... gets a
That
very
matches,
fine
not like a
notepad
bright
out, and so he
blue.
just starts writing in the most ridiculous way, like down his arm as the notepad is sort of being held, yes?
Yeah, and just pockets. That's the main thing, and it's got to be practical. I want to be able to move about
So he
in it.
just just
Yeah,
writes
it's
something
important,
on his notepad and underlines it very begrudgingly.
and I've got to be stunning.
Well, darling, everything I produce is stunning.
I'm sure, but I want
Loving
to
every
write
minute of
it
this.
down. Write it down, stunning, please.
Writes it down.
Perfect.
Back behind his ear. Right, and you need it for tonight.
Yes, please.
Oh, why did you not come to me yesterday?
I didn't know about it till
I'm
this
going to be
morning.
busy all day, aren't I now?
Yes, but I'm sure I can make it worth your while.
Fine.
Thank
Citizen?
No.
Nope.
No.
They never are. I sort of like underline something on his thing again.
Tell me the damage.
Well, that depends on what sort of
If pockets cost extra, I'll
Pockets
be
are
annoyed.
included in the price. Are you looking for just a dress, a nice regal-looking dress, or are you looking for something that is slightly more enchanted in nature, or are you looking for just whatever you can afford?
How
Very
rude.
begrudgingly.
Yeah. What do you mean by enchantments?
Oh, just magical enchantments. Make the colours come out. Sort of chameleon effects. Just helps you to really to fit in and to emphasise your social skills as much as anything else.
God, no! I don't want to be the centre of attention.
Alright,
No,
fine.
no,
Well,
Beige dress.
loads
Blue.
it is.
Blue.
Let's have a look. So it is. Where are fine clothes?
Surprised you haven't gone for the Cara Delevingne.
I was so
I swear
tempted.
there's somewhere on here. Robes? No.
I did think about it, but
Mm.
Aubrey from a trader background from
I
Hartley,
thought
it
they
would
were
have
here.
to be a dress.
Clothes, fine. With the tax, 18 gold pieces.
Fine, I'll give him 18 gold.
Okay.
Good enough.
And you want these done for today?
Yes, how much is that?
I guess I can do it for another 2 gold. I could rush that through.
Brilliant, that makes
Call
sense.
it 20.
Thank you.
Right, splendid. Right, next, up you come. He sort of gestures you over in a very sort of like head aloof.
Well, do you want to go first? I have no idea what it is I'm actually getting. He says it's to Kasaki, obviously.
Just the blues ghost behind you.
Yes, I think we need clothes to the same event this lady does. And he's sort of like, well, now do you? So there's more than you going to this emergency thing that I'm going to have to make 3 sets of clothing for this evening.
Yes.
As a matter
you
of
could
fact,
have told me that. I would have charged you more.
Oh, well, that's a shame.
my friend, if I may, it strikes me that this event that we're going to tonight will be visited by people of incredible importance to the city of Rubrit. Thus, the quality of what you produce today shall resound through the city afterwards.
Make a persuasion check.
Put Brandy's name into all the clothing.
It's not great. Persuasion. Ooh, it's not bad. 13.
13. Okay. He sort of, well, sorry, who will be there?
You will-
Nobility, you say? Sort of thinks about it for a
There
second.
will be nobility there.
At the Adventurers Guild.
The Adventurers Guild are hosting.
You didn't mention anything about this. This one just wanders into my shop saying I need a dress.
I could say that.
Sort of pulls himself up and swishes the hair back. You can see it sort of flows behind him. Amber, nice to meet you. Hold his hand out.
Theren,
Right,
Aubrey.
so, I'd ask you, suit, robes, tunic, what are you looking for?
you'll have to forgive me, Amber. I've never...
Immediately pulls his pen over to Kazaki. What was he like? He's sort of, she's very, like, Aubrey, make an insight check.
Ooh. Insight is 15 total.
She is very embarrassed right now.
Oh, I love it.
She is, like, totally out of her depth. A suit, I believe. Right?
Actually, if I may,
Yes?
I would like, if possible, a flowing black dress robe with a red undershirt, blended for this sword to be worn at my side.
I'm so sorry. You mentioned that you didn't know what you want. That seems very much like you do know what you want.
Call it a surge of inspiration, my friend. I'm sure you know what that's like.
Well, yes, that's true. Sort of like writes all these things down. Fantastic. And will you be wanting similar? And Kazaki's like, yeah, that sounds great.
She would also like pockets as well. Thank you.
I imagine Aubrey's going,
Got you.
Right, is this all on the same account, or are you paying separately?
I'm happy to pay for it.
no.
Let's not be
I
awkward about
can't.
this.
I'm buying 2 things. I can't have you.
I can help.
Really, I've got enough.
I pay for it.
Okay. He'll take, so you just want the regular fine clothes as opposed to anything more fancy than that?
Nah, he just wants to look good.
Right, so about 60 in total.
16.
60.
60.
60 in total.
Cool.
God, I forget how much gold Aubrey's got.
I don't spend it.
It is ridiculous. So, well, you've given me very little time to work with. I have hours. We'll see what we can do. I'll get some help in, and I'll have it delivered up by, I'm afraid it'll have to be about 5:30 by the time it arrives to the Enterers Guild, but I'll send it up there. Acceptable?
Acceptable.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Well, and he sweeps his hair around again. Make sure you remind them to tell them that Amber was the one that produced your clothes this evening, as you look scandalously fantastic all evening.
Do you have a shop name or a brand we can just drop into conversation, or just Amber?
I would just say Amber's.
Amber's.
They'll know.
It would be our pleasure for you to join us.
Will it?
Make a persuasion check. With
Guess.
advantage.
Oh.
Because this just happens to be Amber's weakness.
With
Persuasion.
With advantage.
With advantage.
Unnatural 20. Unnatural 20.
Oh.
Well now. You didn't mention anything about being invited to such an event.
Well, I am allowed 2 guests. I have my
God.
friend here, and you will do such a good job of this, I'm sure. And we have impositioned you by coming so late in the day, as you rightly pointed out. So it would be our pleasure for you to join us.
That is very understanding of you, and it is from a heartfelt position. Much appreciated. I, inside his hand again, would be delighted.
Allow me to show you something.
What?
And what I do is, just go, where I come from, this is how we shake hands. And I grip his forearm, the way that the order kind of... It's a very manly...
He is a moment falls back and is very uncomfortable by this. Delightful. Yeah. Pulls his hand back. But that is very kind of you. I shall make sure that you will look amazing, all 3 of you. I'll have to think about something that I can wear myself. Oh,
I'm sure you can pull
the
something
excitement.
together.
I haven't been to a ball and a banquet in so long. Oh my goodness! Right, out with you! I need to think. I need to create. And you can see this is all flustered.
RuPaul's Drag Race.
Blacks, reds, blues. Oh, orange. Oh yes, and he sort of starts going off. And you can see there's a definite hilarity and the excitement that he's created in the rest of the guild hall. Various people sort of looking out and just sort of sighing and tutting.
He's going to look amazing and you two are going to look trash.
Shit.
There's a moment where somebody with shoes comes over to you and he's like, "Oh, sir, would you like some shoes?" And he's like, "No, away with you! They are my customers. Get off, George! Get off!" And he's like, "All right, you bastard!" Right? Sort of makes his way down and
George is my new NPC.
Theren leans over to Aubrey as they're leaving and goes, "You're going to come back here at one point when you start thinking up things for Stonebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to have him on side now."
I did. I asked for pockets, so...
You demanded pockets.
You don't get to demand... Oh, keep walking.
You're welcome.
so
Buff.
he just leaves you out the store. Is there anything else I'd like to do today? You will have some time in the abridge. You were here for a few days, so there's no need to rush it in just now.
No, that was everything I needed to get from an emergency.
Okay. Perfect.
The only thing, after seeing Theren invite and go, shit, maybe I need to bring someone.
I thought you were bringing your axe.
Fuck you.
That's guest one,
I
right?
wanna... Can I find Makara anywhere? Makara, the dwarf.
Ara,
The dwarf tour
okay.
guide.
Make me
Good lord,
an
why?
investigation check.
She's fun.
She is fun, and she pisses off Theren.
Oh, yes!
A natural 1. Can't find her.
You spend about an hour and a half wandering around
Yeah.
and you cannot find her.
That's fine, I'll find her
No,
tomorrow.
I'm very sorry.
That's fine. I don't bring anyone. I just...
Because the accent will have to wait another day. That's a shame.
Makara. Yeah,
So-
I'll head back up to the Adventurers Guild.
The rest of the day plays out. You have time. Little just silly things like from your player's handbook, such as backpack supplies, rations, that sort of stuff. Feel free to pick that up as you want.
Yeah.
Just
Shit.
you don't even need to roleplay that. That's absolutely fine.
Sorry, I remembered one thing that I was supposed to do on the way back.
You can do it tomorrow.
Yeah, I suppose I could.
We got time in the event. That's what I'm
Great,
saying.
well,
Just
yeah.
in the interest of keeping the story progressing.
Yeah,
a
yeah,
little
yeah,
bit.
yeah.
So, Your costumes are delivered promptly in the evening by a very scrawny but finely dressed, looking like an urchin picked off the street and dressed in finery, effectively. Walks his way up and delivers the package. The guildmaster manages to just be happening to be around the corridor as it's delivered and sort of goes, yeah. As you are left to go and change, the clothes are beautiful. You can see they look not better than the clothes that were being displayed in the shop, but certainly they are beautiful. Extra effort. An unnatural 20s amount of effort you could see has been put into these clothing. Aubrey, the dress is beautiful. It is almost like 2 or 3 different blues, but in the way that it's actually the same blue, but different fabrics and styles, matting and gloss have been used to create an element of depth. And very delicately put in the sides in such a way that they sort of run down the leg. You've got one that runs down the leg, one's to the side. You can see there's one sort of more on waist down here.
Perfect.
But folded into the dress itself are pockets.
Put my hands in.
Exactly.
That's all I did.
You can see the various bits and pieces. He's actually seen, whilst you were there, has shaped up boots. So you can see black, very elegant black looking boots have been made up for them. You can see various bits and pieces, even down to the undergarments. Everything is provided for this costume. It is like a full set of clothes. And Theren, the same to you. He has provided very swish black leather shoes for you that go with the robes. The black, the red. You can see the hem of the robes has been embossed in a beautiful material that seems to shift between black and red depending on how the light catches it. It looks fantastic. And when the 3 of you gather in the evening, you can see Kasaki's is a very similar way, that almost sort of halfway between the robes and a dress has been sort of much more tucked in at the sides, but the 3 of you look very posh. It is fantastic work.
I hate it.
Blue. It's
Yeah, I thought it would be. Yeah.
I was more thinking black because,
Oh, we should have coordinated better.
and I wanted red because of the blood we've all shared together.
Ugh.
Jeez.
Kasaki said, like, that is incredibly morbid.
Yeah.
We've
Has
been
it been
through
like
a
this
lot.
this whole time?
Oh God, you. Oh, you must be Kasaki.
Sorry,
Right,
Kasaki,
shit.
Aubrey,
Sorry, I should have
Kasaki.
mentioned
So
that.
he's talked so much about you.
So I keep hearing.
Yeah.
What have you been telling people about me, Theren?
Leighton, well, what time is this?
Yes, boy! You can
starting?
see him rounding a corner.
What time are we?
Well, now, come. And he sort of takes you down to a banquet hall, just off to the side of the corridor of where the main bar is. You can
That
see
one's walking with Leighton.
a room.
If that's the case, I want to turn to Kasaki and say, "Oh, this is for you, by the way," and I give the letter.
You.
And I said, "I'd read it later, but I think it's important
Thank
to
you.
have it."
And
Yeah.
pops it in a pocket.
Yeah.
Make a
You
sleight
didn't
of hand
see.
check for me, please.
Of course.
No, I didn't. Darren.
You're not looking at this.
No.
Nine.
What is
Nine.
your passive perception?
9.
12.
Theren, you notice her give something to Kasaki, but you're not sure what it is. So, you were led to a banquet hall. There is a
Should
long
always
table with about 30 spaces, and you can see all at the table. Odie, Vincent, the guildmaster takes his place. Captain Sarcher is there with a couple of her crew. Drazda has taken her place, and some other individuals that you don't recognise. But as you're entering into the hall, there's a moment where Guildmaster sort of looks around subtly and just sort of stops briefly for a second, and then with a flawless turn, Kasaki, you have a place next to young Master Theren. Let me take you to your table. Come with me. And there's a moment where she sort of like was led off briefly as in the 2 of your minds, just you hear a brief, just behind you, quickly, please. I don't have long. As Carmen's mind is sort of pushed into yours, and the 2 of you turn and see him just sort of stood by the wall, just out of sight, just so you can see him just from where he is, from where you are in the doorway. But really, the guildmaster has taken Kisaki slightly further forward. He sort of nods and moves out into a side corridor.
Might follow,
If you
yeah.
follow
Yeah.
him.
Ditto.
Right. Thank you both. I assume you have been looked after well? Good? Great. Pleasantries over.
Love him.
Look, I'm sorry again for your loss. I really am. The Little River Wall has been doing some looking. We will continue to investigate rumours, messages of future seals, and I will ask upon your help in future when one is found. But in the meantime, and he sort of draws out a small list, we've been scouring the city for possible contacts of somebody who might be able to help with the healing that you would require. I assume you've already figured out by this point that getting somebody to heal at the location may be tricky, yes?
Yeah.
Correct. So, you might be looking for a scroll or at least some sort of very powerful salve or ointment that would do the trick.
I've looked at scrolls previously before I left the Citadel.
Yes.
In your research, it simply just takes one with knowledge of divine magic, correct?
Correct. As far as I'm aware...
So I would be able to do it.
Well, to an extent. If you are able to cast the spell in question with the power that you have, you can do so without further effort. If you attempt to cast a spell that you cannot regularly cast but is within your class of magic, effectively, then it can be done, but is tricky. It's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
Best to be safe then.
Mm-hmm.
So, there is the High Priest Brewelta of the Cathedral of Perith. Perith being a goddess of healing and all that. He's likely to be able to help you. I have heard as well that High Priest Glint Barrelhelm of the Temple of Xanor, he may also be in possession of a few scrolls of restoration. A greater restoration. I believe they keep stockpiles of them in the cathedral in order to make sure that the fights go off without a hitch. Those barbaric things. There is Guildmaster Percy Granthorpe. He's head of the Alchemist Guild. I don't know if you've met him yet, but he may be able to point you in the direction of somebody. There's a few shops. The Midnight Marvel. They may be able to help. They possess magical items. Gumbo's General Store. It's an unlikely shout, but he might be able to give you a lead of where you'd find one. I'm sure there are other leads in the city. I took the pleasure. I hope, Dan, I noticed, Aubrey, that you hadn't invited anyone to this dinner. Guildmaster require. Well, he told me.
Oh, God.
There's a man named I think it's some horrible name. Weird accent. I don't understand him. This Brookar chap. He works in some alchemist shop in the city. I hear he has some knowledge in the area of petrification. I took the liberty of inviting him to this meal. You'll recognise him. He's looks like a ghost.
What?
No, not a ghost. You could use some sun. Doesn't have my natural complexion. Points at his teeth and skin.
Great.
Right.
Carmen, I'm very sorry. Was that a joke?
Well, it was to me. He sort of folds it up.
I'm impressed. I never thought I'd hear you make a joke.
Huh. Well, thank you. Anyway, Lady Riverwall has other tasks for me this evening. Enjoy your evening.
Send her our regards.
Will do.
And if she hears anything about the other request I had, please let me know as soon as possible.
Indeed. Sort of pulls away and walks off.
I'm panicking.
What?
I have no idea what I'm doing.
Oh.
I've suddenly lost the ability to say all words.
Cool.
My hand has not stopped shaking the entire day.
Right. Oh, God.
I don't know what to do.
Oh, God.
Leighton
Aubrey,
did not
you
have
get
any
a
advice.
soft tug on your sleeve as you turn around, and there's a small, very sort of maybe 14-year-old member of serving staff who says,
No, please.
food is about to be served.
Brilliant. We'll be right with you. Thank you.
Wanders away quickly.
Well, you heard him. What food's been served?
What do I do?
Look. The person you need to speak to about something isn't here right now. All I can say is, be yourself, but less yourself. Just ask her questions about herself. Nod at the right places and go, that's really interesting. And go, I've never thought about it before.
Right, that's really interesting. I've never thought about that before.
See, you've got it straight
Is
away.
there a third phrase in particular?
I'm sure you'll think of one.
Right, okay. Thank you.
And
That's so interesting.
yeah,
That's the
and
thing.
yeah, you'll be fine. I'm sure she'll enrich your life. Anyway, I'm off.
So, you make your way to your seats. Theren, you are spaced between Kasaki and Amber, who you can see is turned up in the most ridiculously opulent. It is almost a dress, actually, a sort of blend of browns and oranges and yellows and metallic colours, almost in a sort of like dragon scale-like way, just beautifully gleaming and over the top. Each scale a different level of matte, and some just blindingly bright amongst the torchlights and the chandeliers of the room. You can see he's wearing his hair in a sort of up and down way, in a big mane, very like Darkness, the Darkness the band. And everywhere,
Wow.
with a tiara across his head. And he sort of, you can see he's all very, very, almost like shyly, just sort of sat up and very uncomfortably, and sort of notes you. Oh, and just before you try and say hello to Kasaki, he's sort of like, oh, nice, good to see you. Good, and remembers from before and takes his hand away and like, yes, please introduce me. And sits you down. Aubrey, you sit down.
Hello.
And next to you on your right is Odie, who very quickly sort of gives you a hug. It's like, oh, good to see you.
Hello.
Oh, yes. Please introduce me to your other friend. And to the left of you, how would you describe your person?
Okay, so to the left of you is this kind of smartly dressed man with dark town trousers, kind of crisp white shirt with sleeves rolled up to the elbows, even though it's a fancy dinner.
Of course.
Dark kind of green waistcoat and black tie, and thin rimmed glasses.
Ooh.
He has kind of very pale white skin with black marks, like you get on the bark of birch trees, kind of that black kind of thin line across.
Ooh.
Dark green hair swept back with a slight widow's peak, and dark green eyes with flecks of brown. He's got very kind of thin and wiry build, and he's smoking on a long dark wooden pipe. I hear I have you to thank for my place at this table.
You better keep that up. Hello.
Keep what up?
No, I'm sorry, I'm speaking that out loud. Aubrey.
Pleasure to meet you. So,
Your name?
my name is Bruka.
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 Okay.
Pleasure. I hear you are an adventurer.
At night I am. By day a trader.
A trader?
Yes.
What do you trade?
All sorts, apparently.
All sorts.
Yeah.
Is that candy?
No, I'll go into like the briefest history of Amble Grounds that I know of. And I talk about how I came to Yibrit and transferring cargo and stuff, but leaving out various details.
This is fascinating. So, great.
Have you tried the meat?
Not really my cup of tea.
Not your thing. One of those vegetarians I've heard so much about.
Well, no.
Flexitarian.
Yes, flexitarian. Who's on my other side?
Your other side would be Captain Sarcher, who you can see is deeply in the in the
characters
process of like, you've got to stop doing that. It just like slaps the like first mate Tanaka's
The whole crew
hand.
is
You can
here.
see just like, I was just going for some food. We haven't started eating yet, have we? And you can see just keeping her like the two members of crew she's invited like politely sort of entwined. The Guildmaster Shanks sort of stands up and, it's a pleasure inviting you all. Thank you so much for coming to this glorious embrace of a fantastic tale of an expedition. We've had loss, we've had love, we've had reward, and we have stories. And to the stories, he holds his glass up.
Sorry.
We drink this evening. Huzzah! He's like mid-toast starts to down his drink. You can see various members of the guild who you don't recognise, some nobility on the sides of the table, start sort of chuckling and toast as well. We'll take a quick break there, and we'll come straight back into this. But until then, see you in a second.
I'll tell you after this. I don't want this to be the opener.
This story.
This bit's going to be erotic.
No.
You tell me, Fiona, what's Aubrey doing?
No.
Hello. Oh, look at Fiona disappear into the jacket. That is
She's as red as that cider.
Literally been read since like 30 minutes in.
That is true.
There are 7 courses to this meal, variant levels of opulence. You have everything from what appears to be a guinea fowl, like sort of small chicken, to plates of mushrooms, asparagus-looking vegetables, potatoes, various ingredients that you don't often see in Ybrit in large amounts. Desserts, cheese courses, breads of various types. It is a beautifully arranged presentation, effectively. And over the course of the evening, various people sort of pipe up and talk to you through the evening. Odie and Vincent sort of lean over and get your attention. You can see to the right of Aubrey, to the left of Theren, effectively. And Aubrey, and Odie says, we're so sorry again about Blue. Everything was a little bit distracted last night, but this is...
Yeah. And thank you for looking after Grazda. I know it meant the world to
Oh,
me.
of course. She couldn't make it this evening, but she's...
Is she okay?
Wow.
I kind of ended things on a not sour note, but I...
No. She we spoke about it. She appreciated the gift, but I think it's all been a bit overwhelming. She's been struggling with... Well, she's a very talented magic user, from what we can tell, but with a lack of formal training. I think every time she tries to learn through the equipment and books available to her in Ybrit, it was a big learning curve, put it that way, and so she's been a bit frustrated because of that. Maybe the gift was a little bit more than she felt she deserved at the time.
Do you know of any schools of magic?
Oh yes, we're trying various tutors
Yeah.
in Ybrit that we're trying to sort of push her towards, but I think these things will come with time.
Sure.
But again, I was so sorry, and Theren, I knew he was a good friend of yours.
These things are better not rushed, is what I can say. My spellcrafting is very different to Arcana, but take things slowly is wise.
Theren, you've not met my new friend.
Sorry, we'll come to you in a moment. I didn't realise you'd made a friend here.
They're quite rude people.
Yes,
Why
Theren.
don't you introduce
Theren,
yourself?
you can see Odie just...
I turn to him in Elvish, go, terribly sorry about that, brother. Theren, Alaric, Order of the Blazing Sun.
Pleasure to meet you. Have they been telling tales of what these two have been up to?
You will have heard... Yes, you would know quite a lot. The Adventurers Guild, like a celebration, put it that way. News of their recent exploits have been shouted from every corner they could get to, effectively. You would have heard it through the Alchemist Guild yourself, your sort of lines of connection, and you probably would have heard that 2 people have arrived back in Ybrit. Wild tales attached to it, finding something on Mount Arnhem which you knew people had been to before and found nothing, tales of monsters below the deep, tales of one of their companions being turned to stone, tales of fighting things overseas, lots of various bits. You don't know how much is true. You would know because you probably met him at some point in a guild event before, Guildmaster Shanks, and you know him to be a little bit of an exaggerator, to put it that way. He likes a story, as most of these, ruffians at the Adventures Guild do. But you would have had bits and pieces, yeah. But listening to these two talk about it is first-hand sort of proof of that, which you were not 100% on before.
Our exuberant mutual friend, Mr. Shanks, he says your friend, he was frozen.
Petrified.
Could you, I'm sorry this is painful, I'm sure, but could you describe how it happened and his composition?
They were basilisks that did it. Magical constructs. It was part of an elaborate trap, and as soon as the mechanic the room seemed to be based around had finished its task, they all...
Okay, great, but him, when he was frozen, is it he was perfect? The statue? The likeness?
Yes, flawless.
This is interesting to me.
How so?
Let's not talk about it now, but in the morning, if you would come to my shop, I would like to show you something, if it isn't taking too much of liberty of your time.
We can find the time for him.
Yes.
My place is called the Pale Tincture. It's near the markets.
Sorry, say that again?
The Pale Tincture.
It's alright, I understood it.
I can speak Elvish too, you know. Just listening in this whole time.
So Reed pipes in Elvish, yeah.
Does Odie speak Elvish?
Odie does speak
Yeah.
Elvish, and
Okay.
so does Vincent.
Yeah.
Everyone around here.
Forgive me.
May I
Michael.
say it's pleasure to use the old tongue. It's been a long while.
Forgive me, remind me of your name again.
Bruka. You will spell it incorrectly, I will write it out tomorrow.
What was the K?
There are two, and a U, and two other letters,
Ah, the
and a
silent
B,
K.
and
Yeah.
an R.
In that order?
No, obviously not in that order.
It was a...
No, it's not in that
Tell
order.
us about your work then. We've spoken quite a lot about ourselves.
Yes, you have.
Yes.
And thank you for that.
Well, now I want to know about you.
I'm apothecary by trade. I came to this city a long time ago and set up shop with my brother.
May I ask why?
We wanted money, mostly knowledge, what we've learned from growing up, you know. There's only so much you can learn out in the sticks. But here, there is knowledge, but there's also this. And I point to the kind of the horrendously gaudy, artificial interior of the Merchant's Guild.
Leighton,
Not
at this
Merchant's
point, he's
Guild.
almost kind of managed to climb onto the table. He's leaning over to one of the nobles and he said, "And if the tales had been told, these giants were so fat, they could have crushed this whole table. Ridiculous, isn't it? Ridiculous." And it's just like, you see these nobles are like half entranced and half like...
Ugh.
Theren kind of really lowers his voice and says to Bruka, "On that, we are in complete agreement."
You said apothecaries,
Yes.
right? Did you have shops before?
Shops.
Place, or is this your first?
This is the one we've had for a long time.
Okay.
Just this one.
A family of...
My brother and I.
I'm just very quiet at this point. All sort of joy is gone. Carry on eating.
She will do that. I wouldn't take it as any sort of personal comment.
What was she doing?
She will simply ask a lot of questions and then go quiet.
Well, that's if you finished asking questions, then you go quiet because you've got no other questions. Oh, you mean just like pleasantries?
I'm not completely certain.
Okay. You look very black.
Yes. People keep mentioning it.
At this point, Kazaki sort of like leans over and says, sorry.
Forgive me, Kazaki. This is Bruka. He is an apothecary who will be assisting Aubrey and I in resuscitating Blue.
Did you say that in common?
Yes.
Pleasure to meet you.
Oh, she sort of takes him a pleasure.
Do you speak Elvish too?
I know I don't.
Okay, we should probably move back to common. Otherwise it is rude to speak in the language not everyone can hear about in a room. Yes?
Thank you.
Yes. Are you alright?
Well, I just couldn't understand the word you were saying, but it's fine, it's fine.
See, it's rude.
I'm sorry. It's a habit. I tend to slip into Elvish whenever greeted with
Someone with similar heritage. And for that, thank you.
Heritage is important.
Yes. And are you adventurer with them too?
No, just a novitiate of the order.
Would I know of the order?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Theren introduced himself as a member of the
Oh,
order
he
as
did.
well.
Another person of organization. Great. Do you have a god?
We're not inquisitors, Bruca.
I choke on my drink. Not particularly.
Bruca smiles.
We're not inquisitors.
No?
It's fine. This doesn't need to suddenly become uncomfortable.
I'm not uncomfortable.
Wonderful.
Well, no more so than what our friend is doing over there. Do you think those nobles will really realize what they're letting themselves in for?
That's a very good question. I would argue perhaps this is what that life entails.
Men shouting at you while standing on your foot.
You'd be surprised.
Well, he's a very exuberant sort of man. He's
He is. But he is
yeah.
being kind. Specifically in introducing me to you.
And then he just levitated the box like nothing. I've never seen casual magic like that, but these two had the measure of him. I tell you, they didn't let him out of their sights the whole time. And there's just that sort of washes through it. You just get wafts of it every now and then.
Master Bruca, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
You said that being introduced to us was a pleasure for you. Why?
I am thinking of traveling. I don't know where, just I want to get away from this city. For a while.
I would very much like to insight the gentleman.
You can insight check, yeah.
Right. I want to see if
I
get a hint.
Unless, are you trying to hide in him?
No.
No?
I just want to see if this, getting away from the city, if there is an edge to that, if there's anything Theren can detect. Or if it's
Is there a reason for him rather than just, I want to go for a travel?
Is there a fleck of fear in my eye?
Or yes.
Or just like, I need to go away because bad things are happening.
Something,
Rather than just a
hidden.
flight of
Alright.
fancy.
Make a check.
Insight 17.
17.
Do I see his eyebrow raise? Right.
Goes straight to his hair.
I will explain everything tomorrow. It will be very clear. Nothing untoward.
All right.
You can see at this point Vincent sort of leans across from the other side of the table. You can see big hat.
Even bigger than before.
Yeah, exactly.
Every level we go up, his hat gets a broom size larger.
I do say,
Over the eyes.
the man has a point. There's often places in all of our lives where you're a little bit lost and hitting your head at a dead end, and often travelling is a good way of finding what's right and what's not. We constantly hear tales of new islands and new places to go from the guild. There's always things to be found.
It's dangerous, though. You do know that.
That's why I wanted to find people like you. Because I don't think travelling alone is a good idea.
No, but, and forgive me if this is presumptuous, we're not bodyguards.
No. I will carry my own weight. I can
Alright.
assure you.
All right. That's fine by me.
So during this conversation, Captain Sarcher is sort of having a web view of Aubrey. You can see she's come over. And again, my deepest condolences is for Blue. I'm so sorry.
Yes, I will keep saying
But
sorry.
chin up. It's not the end.
No.
I'm sure we'll find him. And I must say, and I mean this with sincerity, if you're ever in need of the Falling Star or my passage to help rescue that poor chap, then please do let me know. I would do anything for him. The fate that he suffered that day it wasn't right.
Yeah, he was taken he's taken from us too soon. But I appreciate the offer.
No.
You would definitely will be high on the contact list when
No,
we
I understand.
launch our next quest.
Although, if your pay was anything like what I received, you must be getting to the point where you could afford your own boat by this point, rather than relying on the passage of others.
It's funny you should say that. Just tell me, how much was your boat?
The Falling Star.
Yeah.
She has, I think. Oof. The loan, it's taken a little while to pay off, but
Sure.
it was about 15,000 gold pieces,
Oh, yeah, I'm nowhere near that.
equivalent of
Yeah. With inflation. How long have you had it for? I'm just going to boat talk with
a
them.
couple of years
Yeah.
now. Yeah, it's my powers are were unexpected in the way they arose,
yeah.
and as they did, I felt my calling was overseas.
You know what? That is an incredibly good point. Let's talk about you. Your power to make your boat go fast.
Sorceress.
Technical term.
Sorceress. I've done some research.
Yes.
I appear to have some sort of connection to the weather.
Yeah.
Specifically the elemental planes. I don't know how,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I seem to derive some sort of power through there.
You've always had that?
Well, yeah, to an extent, but don't forget I'm Dragonborn. We have an element of draconic blood in us. Magical abilities, the ability to breathe lightning from an early age is not uncommon in, most of our race. Apart from that good chap who seemed to think he was sneezing.
Yeah. There's a moment where Aubrey thinks, maybe I can breathe lightning, and then wipes that thought immediately away. She'll try that later.
It was something that came to me later in life, but ironically, once I started sailing, it just seemed to be a connection. I woke up one morning after spending a couple of nights on the deck of the ship I was working on, and just had the call to go west.
Sorry.
Go away.
So, is it...
It wasn't peaceful there.
Was it...
Too tempting. Sorry.
Was it a god that called to
Children.
you, or some just? Do you know what it was?
Well, I've always been a little bit religious, but nothing. No, not like a calling per se. Not like Theren over there. He seems to actually be able to draw
Let's
power.
not even talk about that.
At this point, when you glance over, he's going, "That's very interesting. I'd never thought of it like that. That's very interesting."
Just to himself. I think.
But
I've broken him.
I've done a little bit of reading, and I think my power seems to come from within me.
Great.
Not unlike yours. Yours seem to be an extension of your own emotions, which is similar to mine. Perhaps it's something similar.
Maybe. Can you breathe underwater?
I cannot.
Cool. Good to know.
Can you?
I think so.
Well, I bet sailing's not very scary for you anymore, is it?
No, I know. And at this point, I'm like literally gripping my side where the crocodile got me. Yeah, I'm just like, Yeah, I just don't know what to make of it.
You see her eyes flick down, but look, I'm so sorry, but as I say, if you need passage back to Montana, then please let me know. If I'm not in your Brit, then send me a message and I'll get back as soon as I can.
Thank you, and please thank your crew for helping us.
No, they don't need thanks. It's what I pay them for. But that's very sweet.
Yeah, and maybe next time you're around, we can go for a proper drink and talk about compare.
Next
writing
time
skills.
around, what do you think I'm doing this evening?
Oh, well, this is kind of. I'm in a dress. I just want normal, quiet, like the giggling dragon or whatever it's called. Cackling dragon. So close. Cackling dragon, just nice, without all this pomp and pleasantries. Imagine
Wow.
too much of home.
If you put it that way,
Oh, it's nothing like that.
that's fair enough.
Yeah. No, I know Blue's already got that taken. Thank you.
I can also breathe underwater,
I'm sorry.
but I've yet to try it in practice.
How can you breathe underwater?
Well, I have this smoke pipe.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Stick underwater, stick pipe on top of water, and then you can breathe.
Oh, cool.
Does she believe me, or can she tell I'm trying to tell a joke?
I'm just like, cool. There's definitely an icy frost between us since you mentioned apothecary, so I'm just like, you listened in on my conversation. Cool.
Yeah, wonderful. So, over the course of the rest of the evening, at some point, you can see just like sort of slipping between the chairs, like very quickly, as you can see Drazda appears very briefly and sort of tugs at Odie's sleeve and sort of whispers something to her, and then sort of sees the two of you and sort of gives a quick smile and then sort of shoots off again.
She's gone.
Odie sort of watches her go and leans over. She'll be fine. She'll be fine. We'll look after her. She just, well, she decided to remind me for about the 6th time this evening that she was doing all she could to find reading into petrification. She's found some books. You never know. She's a clever. Once she's cracked reading, she's getting there slowly.
She won't even look at me.
She looked at you.
Briefly.
I mean, if that's what you're saying, that's totally fine. But she looked at you briefly. But
I have passive perception of 17. She looked at you.
Can I get one of the servants to send up some food for her from the feast so that she's not going about? Like, getting
Because you can.
Yeah, I'll do that. Just make sure she doesn't go hungry.
So,
Maybe invite her tomorrow.
can the three of you make for me, as part of the sort of like overhearing things in the meal before the meal wraps up, could you make for me either a performance if you want to get involved, or a perception if you want to be more of a listener? Please, a check.
Perception for me.
Perception?
I'll do that.
Performance.
Oh,
Fuck my life.
Aubrey, you get swept up in thinking about Jazz. That's fair enough. You're just a bit glum.
Yeah.
16.
16 on performance.
Can I? Me too?
Yeah, you
Perception, listening or not? Oh, perception. Oh, actually, I'm good at that now.
18. Right, fine. So
16.
two 16s. Okay, fine. So there's a couple of things you pick up actually. Guildmaster, as he gets a little bit drunk, he mentions the dig at Godro a couple of times, which seems to be where this next project is. Seems like it was one off the back of your venture actually. There was an expedition that's heading out next week, and upon hearing of the guild's ability to look after things, the dig to Godro has been mentioned. You mentioned a couple of other things as well. Some nobles start having a chat with Vincent at one point. And you can hear him asking about various bits and pieces. And he starts going off, and none of you, either of the two of you, don't really listen. Or Aubrey, you've just not got it. Theren, you listen because you just, for whatever reason, you're distracted by Vincent's hat. Or something along those lines, and you just sort of you can't help but like get involved because it's just ridiculous as you're listening. And the two of you, especially you, Brooker, actually the conversation would be interesting to you because they mention strange vegetation, strange mushroom growth on an island to the west. That has popped up a couple of times. Vincent having some sort of wager with a noble that the mushrooms can't possibly become 4 feet in width. What are you talking about? And Vincent's like, of course they can, my dear boy. I've seen things larger than my hat. 4 feet is no stretch to that, and whatever. But the island of, and again, it's a word you've heard before, red sands pops up a couple of times as well. So over the course of the evening, again, those are dropped in. Kisaki, at some point, Theren leans over.
He'll check in with her every so often.
She is. She's sort of very alien to this whole concept, and you're familiar with it. You've had a couple of months of practice, but talking and stepping out of turn is thought very badly of in the Order. Social engagements are virtually unheard of, and she, at some point, leans over to you and says, I imagine you're not planning on going anywhere in the next few days, but do you have a plan?
What do you mean?
Well, I seem to have, I have some time on my novitiate expedition to go, and I don't know whether to stay here, Theren, or New Brit. My gut is telling me to leave and to run away, but I know that I should continue to dig, because whatever it was I found, it needs to be rooted out. There's whatever corruption, whatever this organisation is here that saw fit to imprison me.
It's unorthodox, and though I do not like the idea of deception, I agree with you. We have to take care of this. Whatever these masked individuals are doing, it has to be stopped, and it is our duty to do it. Now, I'm aware that every novitiate is supposed to go alone, but Perith brought you into my path, or me into yours, for a reason. And I would be lying if I didn't wonder from time to time, after you'd gone, how you were doing. I think we should stay together. We'll begin by dealing with whatever this is, and then afterwards we'll see what happens.
She nods. My quest is my own, and I do not believe that we should disobey the Order so readily, but I agree that whatever this is it's worse than I can deal with, and well, whatever you've found that you feel like you need to fight, I believe it most probably is worse than you are, and perhaps there is some logic to that.
Can I ask a personal question?
Yes?
We have 3 years to do whatever, really. We just have to return with some proof that we will be beneficial. What do you plan to do?
Well, being frank there, and if you walked up to the door tomorrow with the plate armor I saw you in, and, well, the gold that I know that you found, they would welcome you with open arms. I haven't found, well, I am worth less than when I left. I've achieved nothing so far. I need to, whatever, I don't know. I just need to prove myself in some way.
Material gain says nothing of the person. Look, I know better than anyone that the Order would be foolish not to take you on. They will, of course they will. There's no one more dedicated. But, I mean personally, what do you want to do before you dedicate your life to them?
Prove that I'm worth taking on. And if it means dealing with whatever corruption is here, and so be it.
Then we'll start with that.
Okay.
By the way, not to pry, but I saw Aubrey hand you something earlier. No, I'm not trying to interrogate you or anything, obviously.
No. She sort of reaches out and pulls out the letter. I have no idea what it is. Why? She said I should read it. You've totally noticed this, by the way. But they're on the other side of the table to you. It's quite a large table.
Cool. I get up as slowly as I can and just sort of toddle off. Walk away.
Should I read it? I don't want to read it, do I?
Why wouldn't you want to?
Well, because I don't think you want me to read it.
When I wrote it, I wanted you to. However, I rather thought that when you did, I would no longer be breathing.
More like a will, then. Or a note to be left behind if you were to die. Last requests or last thoughts, per se.
You should just read it. I will give you a moment. If you wish to speak to me afterwards, then I will happily do so. If you wish not to bring it up again, simply say, and I will do as you wish. And with that, I turn around and walk off.
Okay. So,
I'll send you a picture of what it said later.
Rickard, you watch these two walk off.
Opposite directions.
I can summarize it to it says how he feels about it.
Yeah.
I turn to Kazaki. Your skin is very pale. Doesn't look natural. Have you had enough vitamin D in your supplemental diet?
No offense, but have you?
This is racial. Don't be racist.
Yes.
She just like is very. You watch her. She's very sort of.
Can I suggest eating some of that fish? It will counteract rickets and other issues you might be suffering.
Aubrey eating at this point is a great idea. Good. And you see, as she goes to reach across to get a plate, she puts a handful of paper on the table, and you can see the note has been ripped up into multiple pieces. She starts eating the fish.
Oh shit!
Is everything okay?
Oh, yes, it is. Nobody should. No,
Nope.
it's fine. You're gone by this.
Yeah, it's funny.
Does she look like everything's okay?
Make an insight check.
12 plus. Need to see. I
Here
gotta
comes
remember
the
these.
wisdom.
19.
19, very good. She's deep in thought. Processing, you would surmise. She doesn't know how to feel.
You're processing. Deep in thought. The fish will help.
Just starts eating the fish. Thank you.
Right. Shanks. Thank you.
Good evening, dear boy.
Bye.
Go straight back to chatting to someone else.
I head back home.
Okay.
As you go outside, you see Theren stood outside.
You're right, young man.
No.
Do you want to talk?
With all due respect, do you?
No.
Then
See you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow.
I go back to my shop. And
Humans are so weird.
I pull out from underneath my bed
Yeah.
a large black box and take out for a long time the longbow that's inside it
Yeah.
and give it a stretch.
It needs. You spend about an hour oiling it, stretching it out. It hasn't been used in some time, but it's still, the elven make is beautiful, and it's enough to get it back in eventually.
Nice.
You probably need the next day to go and get a replacement string is probably the only thing, but nothing you can't do easily.
He's no problem. I'm not there.
In Woodolf Town. Bow, string, I don't know.
It worse than me.
So,
If nothing happens, Theren walk back in about 20 minutes later.
yeah, and Kisaki's gone. Most people have gone by that point, have made their way into various places. If you want someone to drink with, there'll be people around and about. Captain Sarcher is still there, Odin Vincent will still be there. Guildmaster Shanks is never...
Gonna make a beeline for Shanks.
Yeah, go for it. At this point,
Drinking
he's
buddy.
engrossed in conversation with a couple of nobles, but he sees you and like grabs your arm and grabs your shoulder, but even looking at you, brings you into the conversation. And this is the man of the moment. Please, Master Theren, welcome to these fine gentlemen and ladies here. Yeah, and tell us about yourself, and just starts to like get you
Just
involved in
chat.
the conversation, and basically just parades you for a few minutes.
After enough polite time has passed,
Yeah.
Theren just says, "Gentlemen, would you please excuse me and the Guildmaster for a moment?"
They very rapidly disappear. It's like, oh my god, an
Thanks,
excuse. What is it, dear boy?
Did you see where she went?
Yes, to bed. She came over. She was looking quite sheepish, so I told her to go to that to Blue's room. Hope you don't mind. I thought it was going spare.
How long ago was this?
Ooh, quarter of an hour.
Guildmaster, excuse me. I go to Blue's room.
Sort of watches you leave and chuckles to himself. Aubrey, what are you up to?
I'm gone straight to my room.
Bed. So Theren,
Mm-hmm.
you go and all the doors are closed.
God.
Yes.
It's me.
Do you mind if we talk in the morning?
Did you read it?
No.
I'll talk to you tomorrow. Wait, you know what? No, let's not do this. Let's...
I spent months in jail there and I'm very tired.
Great, I'll see you tomorrow.
Brutal.
You just make your way to bed.
Whew.
Stops outside his door, turns to Aubrey's door.
Oh, shoot. Definitely asleep. Nope. I don't answer.
Goes to bed.
Okay. Perfect. So, in the morning, you get up, make your way. Breakfast is sort of served in the hall. The three of you meet up dressed in sort of city clothes, effectively. By this point, all of your belongings have been laundered, cleaned. Leighton has sort of ordered, things to be sort of, effectively to somebody to go through your pack and make sure all the mud and all the dirt is out of various bits and pieces. Everything is given a spruce. By the time in the morning, you can see that Kisaki sort of wanders over to the two of you. You can see again she's dressed in sort of very sleek and elegant, but sort of functional clothing, sort of leather gear, effectively, but nothing military, but very functional. And she sort of nods to you both. That was an amazing sleep. I honestly thought I would never see what a bed would look like again, let alone sleep in one, so fantastic.
I'm glad you found it serviceable.
It was quite adequate.
Good.
Shall we go to this man's shop?
Sure. Let's go.
She heads out very functionally. You can see again she has her katana like sort of still on her side, just like Theren does, even in their casual
See
gear.
you coming, David, from a mile away.
Exactly.
The third wheel in a really awkward relationship.
No.
That's what you were.
Unfortunately, Theron's the third wheel. That's the problem. So, the three of you make your way over to the shop. What would you say the shop is like?
So it's kind of down a side alley, and as you approach it, it's kind of semi-built into part of it. So it looks like almost the alley is dug into the ground, and then the ground floor is kind of built into the ground.
Yeah.
As you go in, it's all very kind of stone, and the classic apothecary. So there's bits of leaves and herbs kind of growing off of the ceiling in bunches and things, and there's vials and whatever bric-a-brac all around the wall, and there's this kind of, it's quite dim with a couple of candles, and there's kind of a long dark wood counter with and there's kind of like a surly looking teenager just kind of propped up reading a book on top of the counter.
Yeah, perfect. The teenager sort of like watches as you come in and sort of like puts down the book. Welcome. Can I help you?
We're looking for Master Brooker.
Alright. Puts the book down. Master Brooker, someone here for you.
Thank you, May.
She sort of just like kicks her feet back up onto the table, puts the book up.
Thank you for coming.
I know a lot of people that would have many words for that one. Sorry, proceed.
Initial impressions are false, I can assure you. Let's come on through. And he takes you through into kind of like a back room of the shop. And the room is kind of partial chaos. There's papers and writings and drawings and books kind of all splayed around. There's kind of the odd material component of spells and things just dotted around. And in the centre is the form of a man or a wood elf, but completely in wood, frozen like a statue. This is my brother.
You suddenly make a lot more sense.
Yes. I think we are working to something similar.
How long has he been like this?
A year. I've worked hard using what I could find in the city, but my ability to use spells is hampered by the urban environment. My spellcasting requires me to tap into, it sounds cheesy, but the power of nature around me. The world.
What happened to him?
I think he was trying to do a spell beyond his reach. I came back one day, he was like this.
How is he positioned? It was Fiona speaking. Is he just like on the floor? Is he stood up? Is he in a weird position or?
He stood up, and it looks like he has his hands kind of in.
Okay.
You've seen Blue
Yeah.
kind of do hand signal somatic movements, so it looks like he's casting a spell.
Right.
Different to stone, but equally, you can see his features are perfect. It's very obviously not carved by man. It's petrification, as you say. This is why I need to leave the island.
And head where?
Anywhere where the link with the real world isn't blocked by noise and fire and light and dark.
Do you know
And
this?
stupid clothing.
Do you know the spell he was trying to attempt?
No,
Right.
sorry.
Did he seem to act weird a few days before this happened? Anything?
My brother is quite weird. He's very
Doesn't surprise me.
enthusiastic. He's very enthusiastic about things.
Right.
Bit of an idiot, but
One
my
that
brother.
we shall return.
Yes, and hopefully, when I learn how I can help him, I can help your friend. This would be what I would bring to as a thank you for you letting me travel with you. If you are going to foreign shores.
I can guarantee we almost certainly will be. Isn't that right, Aubrey?
Mm-hmm.
There is another matter, though. Something my friend and I here were discussing. Master Brooker, I need to know how much I can trust you with what I'm about to say.
I haven't shown many people this room. My apprentice, you've met outside. The bright and lovely May.
A delight.
I have talked to a few people of other arcane backgrounds for help with this, but apart from that, you are the only people who've seen this. I trust you because of what's happened to your friend. I'm not one to believe in destiny or the wills of fate, but this seems too much of a coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like someone tried to come up with some strange plot device in order to bring us together.
I'm beginning to feel more and more like that in my day-to-day life.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
I think it's perfect.
There is a matter that does require our attention here in Ybrit. Something that we saw the last time we were here. Something that we've all individually sworn to do something about. Are you familiar with men?
I'm aware of men. Sorry.
Robed figures, masked.
The black market.
You...
What are these men called?
You would know that there is a shady side to your brick. It's not something you've engaged with personally. There are rumours of collection rackets occasionally, and of criminals who deal with illicit, stolen goods, intimidate, bribe. You've avoided most of that. To be brutally honest, your shop is not the wealthiest in Ybrit. You don't deal with high-end goods for that much, and you are under the protection of the Guild of Alchemists, so you've avoided most of it, but you are wise enough to know that there are shady individuals around Ybrit, yeah.
You mess with dangerous forces.
Yes, and you'll have to forgive me. I couldn't sleep last night, and as such concocted a plan of sorts. You have a shop. We need a way of capturing one of these people alive to find out what they know. I would be happy to have you accompany us when we leave this island. But before then, I fear I'll have to ask more favours of you than you are of us.
Go on.
I would like to trap one of these people here. Use this shop as bait, if you will. Capture one of them. Find out what they know and destroy this corruption racket once and for all. I do not own a shop. Thus, I am lacking the important bait. You do.
The problem is, this isn't just my shop. It is his shop, and it is the girl outside's shop. We can talk to her if she's willing to. These people are dangerous. I don't want to bring danger to her. We could, if there is a way for them to become interested in my enterprise, I'm willing to talk to someone, to interview, to probe for information, but to assault and trap, I would need to understand a little more of what we would get out of that.
I understand. And I will go over this with you in detail another time. What my friend and I are looking for here is people that we can trust in this city. We do not know exactly how much of this place is tainted by corruption.
Right.
You have shown us your brother, and I thank you for that. I do not think you would have if you were one of them.
No, I'm not on their radar. Radar not being a word that I know is used in the fantasy world. I'm not on their
Purview?
view.
Horizons.
You would maybe want to deal with a shop of higher caliber.
Kazaki pipes up at this point. There may be another way. I think once we have their attention, entrapping or capturing is a very good plan. I do. We need to find the undermarket. There's somewhere in Yibrit there is a black market, an official, unofficial market. A location where it is set up, guarded, goods flow through. If we can find where that is, we'll be able to connect people coming in and out of it. And then you'll have your targets. We may not even need to entrap somebody if we can go after them.
I have spells I can use to hold people in place.
Can they withstand stress? I have my own ability around that. I just want to know what its limitations are.
They can attempt to get out of it. But
Well, there's also ropes, isn't there? We're quite good at that.
Mhm.
Not the way you're thinking.
Kazaki gives a very strange look at this point.
Kazaki, where would you suggest looking to find this market? I am not aware.
In the lower streets of the lower districts, I noticed people coming in and out of a pub, the Cackling Dragon. You mentioned it before.
Followed your tracks there, yes.
Right. So there are patterns, meeting locations. I had followed rumours based on the fact that I was looking for an item to buy. I think I wasn't subtle enough in my inquiries, but I followed urchins, criminals into alleyways. I tried to find them, force people to give me answers, but my aggressive tactic perhaps wasn't best suited to something that you don't know where the enemy is.
We could ask Lakara. She knows quite a lot about Yibrit.
Who's Akara?
A dwarf.
A tour guide of sorts.
Why would a tour guide know where the black market was?
She knew quite a lot.
Well,
So it's,
it's worth a lead.
yeah.
Would you agree, Theren?
Yes, it's can't afford to turn any of them down.
No.
Right.
Although, if there is to be any following of leads closely, any infiltration or deception, Kasaki and I cannot be the ones to do it. Our faces are known.
Enters Aubrey. Sure.
It would have to be one of you two, if not both of you.
Yeah, but I feel it might have to be our new friend here because I got knocked out of the best shop in Newbert. So I think that they would be aware of who I am. I feel through various investigations I had earlier, I think Gumbo's hiding something. I think he knows exactly where the black market is. I think he knows a lot about Arcanite. I think he's possibly another lead, but I can't go in his shop anymore.
What basis do you have for this?
Arcanite rings a bell with you. Your research would have brought up Arcanite at some point because of its magical ability to enhance somebody's magic. You have restorative magic, but nothing of the power needed. And it ran through your mind a few times. You've gone back to it thinking Arcanite, perhaps I could attempt something, and you've always gone against it because of it's dangerous and expensive and very illegal.
Just 3 things.
You keep pushing it back to be a
Plan Z.
yeah.
Not worth it. No, when I did my investigations before, when I asked people in pubs and stuff about the Masterman, it's a long story, it was a very long day that day. People seem to know what it is out in the open and will happily tell me that it was available on the black market, whereas Gumbo's reaction was very negative, he did not want to talk about it at all with me.
With your trading background,
Yes.
are you aware of anything which is, say, not as bad as Arcanite, but wouldn't be sold at a place like Gumbo's? So you say, Gumbo, I am interested in buying these perfectly innocent things, but also this thing which I'm not sure what to get.
Do you mean so I buy from him rather than me sell to him?
Buy from...
It's because he doesn't know anything about Amber Crowns, or he's heard of them, but it's not.
I was thinking more he would direct us to black market.
Yes, but it can't be Aubrey that does it.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
sorry.
With your trading background, do you know of other minor illegal substances?
Contraband.
Yes.
Do I know of any contraband in this fantasy setting?
You do, yes. There are always drugs.
We're looking for the
foodstuffs
marijuana
with
Xerieos.
so magic mushrooms are a good example of something that has hallucinogenic properties that
Sweet.
wouldn't be necessarily like super illegal, but would definitely be frowned upon. Brooker, you would definitely know about that sort of stuff. Yibrit mainly deals with the taxation of imports, effectively. If you bring items into Yibrit, you have to be taxed on like an entrance tax, and that's why anything that's brought into Yibrit that hasn't been registered is illegal contraband and could be arrest. It is a very heavy punishment depending on its value.
Sweet.
Mr. Brooker, you, I presume, know Gumbo.
You would know.
I know of him.
Yeah, you know of him. You've never really paid too much mind to the lumbering Goliath, but
Big fellow.
That's correct, I believe. All right, then. If it can't be you, then you'll provide us with the information that we need, and one of us will do it. Either you in your field as an alchemist, or, well, I doubt you, Brit, is any stranger to novitiates that are running away from the Order. I can play that part if I absolutely must.
Can you play it well, though?
Look like I'm doing something I'm not supposed to be doing, carrying artifacts I'm not supposed to carry with knowledge I'm not supposed to have. I think I have some experience with that.
Sounds good.
Right.
Dream team.
So, heading to Gumball.
Now?
I need to stop at a forge first. Can we meet you there? Unless you wish to go there.
No, the forge would be a good stop.
Good.
We'll see you at Gumbo's then.
Okay. As we leave the room with my brother, I cast what is it? Stone shape on the door.
Yeah.
So I turn the door to the room into a solid stone wall.
Yeah, and you can see there's a sort of trembling in the ground as the brickwork around. You can see the sort of the sort of grey bricks that line the room almost sort of rotate and rumble, sort of move up and create a solid wall that is indistinguishable from the back wall of the main shop. As your assistant sort of just is like, hasn't even bothered looking. Will you be out long?
Maybe I'll be back by the evening. Have I paid you today?
No.
Okay. And I'll hand over her wage.
Okay, it's about 2 silver pieces.
Thank you, mate. If Mr. Peterson comes, his cream for the rash is prepared and is ready for his collection. If Miss Elshen turns up, don't give her any more of the special juice.
Is she the one with cats?
Yes, she's the one with the cats.
Alright.
Okay, thank you, May.
She sort of like continues reading. Perfect. You make your way out. So, Kasaki and Theren, you make your way to the forge.
Yeah.
It's only about 3 minutes from where you are.
Great.
You get up there and Thalgrim isn't there. You can't sort of see him at the moment, but you can see various other apprentices and sort of tradespeople going about their wares. Were you looking for anything particular to buy or sell?
Specifically Thorgrim.
Okay, make an investigation check.
Ooh.
22.
22. Okay, after sort of 2-3 minutes of asking around, you do find him within the guild hall itself, sort of buried away in the corner of a room. You can see, unlike every other time you've seen him so far, he has his nose buried in a large manual. You can see at this time of chain links and a particular way of welding the metal to get a sort of good link. He's sort of his brow furrowed against the, just trying to work out the specific of something he's researching, but he looks up and goes, how can I help?
You look puzzled. Do you require assistance?
Nah, just I hate chainmail. I really do. It's just awful.
It is. All metal armor is awful.
I'm inclined to agree with you. Yes, it is awful. It's heavy. It doesn't protect you nearly as much as it should for the weight.
No, it does not.
It's likely to tear.
Cheap though. I was just reading here. There's a manual showing how you can use various sort of scrap metal pieces to strengthfully, but it's very boring. How can I help?
You made some armor for me.
Yes, I did.
It served its purpose perfectly. I would like to return it to you.
Oh, fantastic. And if I remember correctly, are you looking to upgrade at some point?
I just kind of...
Awkwardly.
I encountered another armourer on my travels. Forgive me, the need was present at the time. Otherwise, I would have returned to you specifically.
I see.
Actually, forgive me. This splint mail, would you be able to reshape it to another's measurements?
Yes, I would.
I turn to Kasaki and go, it's going to be an upgrade from what you've got.
How much would it be? In fact, I'm sort of guess. With a refit like that, two different. You're not dissimilar, and he sort of thinks about it for himself. 40 gold pieces to reshape.
I can provide you with that. There's something else, and I go into the bag of holding and I pull out the old dwarven helmet and the old dwarven longsword I found. And I sort of hand them over, like, I would like you to appraise these, if you would.
So it looks at them. Where did you get this?
Forgive me, I swore not to tell you. Not you specifically, I swore not to repeat it.
Sort of thinks about it for a second. Would he know? What would he know? That is a good
He
question.
looks back in the book, goes to the back page. Dwarven communities. Subsection underground.
Subsection lost.
This is So this is the helmet and the sword you got from the Durgar, or is this the one you got from the temple?
Temple.
Temple.
Yeah, the stuff we got with the Durgar, we traded.
I don't have
Whereabouts did you get it from the temple? Just remind me. Sorry, my mind is everywhere.
It was just before we went in. I think it was just by the jelly things. There was a chest.
Oh, the chest with stuff in it.
Oh, I see. Yeah, got you. And it was a helmet and yeah.
I saw
He just
it.
looks around. This is it's dwarven work.
Hmm.
This is gold spire work.
That is most likely correct. Yes.
Very nice.
This.
I heard rumours that. Forgive me. This is recent work. You can tell from.
Theren lifts one of the gauntlets and shows the gold spire symbol on his plate armour and goes, "So is this."
His eyes light up at this point.
Oh.
I see. Well, I understand why you have been sworn to secrecy, if even I did not know of their location. I believed they were long gone. Okay. Well, I will forgive you seeking custom from another dwarf, although it pains me to lose that trade. I will happily reforge this armor. I cannot buy such armor in such a bad condition. He's clearly have seen some use, but I would happily give you 25 gold purely for the historical interest to me.
It should be back with its people. I require no payment.
Okay. Well, I understand.
When can we return for the splint?
Tomorrow morning.
Then we shall see you then. Thank you again.
Perfect. And he spent some time taking measurements and getting Kasaki's.
She's used to this by now.
Yes, but now she's got spoon now. There you go.
Oh, upgrading the NPCs.
Yeah, exactly. She pulls you aside there and as you leave and she says, "You know I'll pay you back.
I don't.
Do not
usually-
need charity."
It's not charity.
It seems a little like charity.
Since when is an act of kindness between two friends charity?
Kindness is kindness, but this seems to be that I cannot defend myself. This is something different.
This is not an insult. Do not perceive it as such. It's simply you yourself, as soon as you were released from prison, pointed out how awful the chainmail we are given is.
Well, that I cannot complain about. But I will pay you back.
If you must seek some sort of way of repaying me, then just call it a favour you owe.
Okay?
I don't want money from you.
Fine. She nods and continues to make her way.
Cool. We head to Gumbo's.
Perfect. So you arrive at Gumbo's, and again, the same sort of rickety wooden building stretches up. You can see people milling around. A lot of people milling around. There's probably about 15, 20 people as you enter into the shop. And you can see Theren, you can see just walls upon walls of general goods, effectively. Everything from backpacks to just equipment, tools, random pieces of sort of flowers, herbs, food, just an assortment of all kinds of products with various members of serving staff wandering around. No Goliath as such, however. Noisy. If you stand around for a minute or two, you eventually, like a serving member of staff will come over and, oh, hello, what?
Fuck you.
Can I help you? Is there anything you're looking for?
I was actually hoping to see the manager if he's around, if that's at all possible.
Oh, Gumbo.
Yes.
Let me go and see. Who's asking, please?
Well, he wouldn't know me actually. But my name is Theren. It's just a matter of business. That's all.
Okay, I'll see if it's available. And
As soon as she runs off, right? What are these contraband items? Because we need to know what it is quickly, and we need you to hide behind something.
I'm gone.
Great. What are these matters of contraband?
Where's Aubrey gone?
I'm going to hide behind a convenient set of pots.
I was
Okay,
thinking,
right behind the convenient parts. Got you.
I was thinking I didn't even have to name them actually. I could just ask him, as one shop owner to another, I'm looking for a cure. It requires ingredients I know are maybe not sold in his shop. I'm looking for something that for medicinal purposes.
Right.
But
He has my name, so whatever it is, let's say it's for me, and there's some symptoms I should be showing.
yes, this is a good idea. Maybe twitching eye.
All right.
A sense of high importance.
That's actually worryingly good. So,
Don't do it right now, but good practice.
Thank you.
the same lady arrives back. And I'm very sorry. Gumbo's, he's a little preoccupied at the moment. Could I inquire as to the exact business?
Advice on
David.
where to get certain products.
Oh, well, maybe I can help with that.
With all due respect, this is maybe a sensitive matter. It involves a patient of mine's health. So I'd rather have less people as possible know.
Raspy cough.
Make
Don't
a
worry, it's not contagious.
make a persuasion check,
Oh
but
shit.
with advantage because Theron's helping you at this point.
I'm just looking around the shop, seeing if what's
I miss
going on.
blue.
basically.
I miss blue.
Exactly, sort of started hanging around you at this point.
That's good.
Really hiding.
Persuasion.
Cool.
-1. 16.
16.
Ooh.
Okay. So, it was a moment where he sort of... Look, Gumbo's not in at the moment, but I'll let him know that you've arrived. He may be a few days, actually.
Okay.
He's been brought out of town. But I assume he'll be back before the end of next week.
Okay. What is your name?
Oh,
Oh,
do some rolling.
no, because I've got some names for these guys, so I just want to double check I'm not gonna... Mirabelle.
Common name.
Should we ask? Thank you, Mary. Should we ask Mirabelle?
Yeah, I mean, you might as well.
Okay. Okay, Mirabelle. You seem a good person. I will trust you.
Thank you.
You will notice the strange features on my friend.
Yes.
And the
Is he
eye.
contagious?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
He looks pretty contagious.
No, it just looks very bad.
Make a performance check, probably.
Jesus. We are proficient in it now.
19.
Nice.
Right.
And we are looking for an ingredient, which I won't mention. But we know it won't be sold above market.
There's a moment where she sort of just shifty. For the medicine.
Yes, it is a strange ingredient, but I think I will need to find it from, it pains me to say, more dubious establishment. And while I know you would not want me to go to a competitor, I have no other establishment more that I admire that would maybe help me, I think. Just to point me in the right direction.
Make a persuasion check with advantage again. Theren helping you.
This man is better trader than Aubrey. Fuck this. Like,
Ooh,
Ooh.
that's
16.
15.
15. Oh, that's a difficult thing to ask. She
If you're not comfortable, this is fine.
I'm afraid I can't help you, but
The pain's back.
Don't worry.
Gumbo, he will be back. He'll be back tomorrow night. Actually,
Thank
he
you.
might be able to help.
And I appreciate your discretion.
Yes.
Yes.
And yours.
Thank you,
Thank
Mirabelle.
You can see sort of next to you, Kasaki's attention is brought very rapidly round to behind her as something is sort of pulled back on her trousers. And you just sort of you see her eyes strangely narrow.
Don't do
a
it.
very weird looking gnome lady with various bits and pieces around her. Oh, hello, can I help you? Is there anything I can get you? Kasaki's, no, I'm just browsing. Oh, are you sure? I'll be able to find anything you want. I'm really good like that. I promise. I believe you. I believe you. Hang on, let's see. Intelligence check.
Don't you dare.
Yes, actually. I'm looking for a blue vase. Very small with a purple lid. Oh, we might have one of those. 1 second. And then the name wanders off. And Kasaki sort of turns around. Is that the one you were warning me about?
Yes.
Right.
How did you do that?
Oh, I told her to go look at something.
Oh. When
Really
you say it out loud,
specific.
when you say it out loud,
Yeah.
makes me okay.
It's alright, don't worry.
Is it?
No.
Cool. These pots are nice.
They're functional.
Yeah.
So should we go outside?
So the four of you make your way outside, back into the plaza of your bread.
Aubrey, you alright?
Yeah, fine.
You kind of look like you've seen a ghost.
No. Just, third time's the charm, isn't it? Right, what's the plan?
You look like someone who's been banned from a shop.
How insightful of you, new friend.
Gumbo won't be back until tomorrow night.
Yeah.
We
Is it
probably have some sort of way in with this whole sick patient routine.
You're very good.
Thank you. Recently a friend of mine showed me how to accurately perform to a crowd, so... Well...
I just thought you were always sick in the head, but... I mean...
Yes, just not physically.
What shall we do for lunch?
So,
Actually, would you two excuse me, I need to speak to the Master Bruker for a second.
Cool.
but is there anything...
Oh, no, nothing's wrong. I just, it's more of a medicinal question.
Right. Okay, and...
Do you want to go to the best temple in all of Europe?
She's talking about the Cathedral of Zalnor.
Sarnor?
Yes.
Why would I want to go there?
It's the coolest thing. Let me push you. You'll love it. Trust me.
It's
It's right next to the Temple of Perith. You can go in there if you want. I'm going to go to
Well,
the Temple of Dana.
probably will, yes. She
Come on.
wanders with you.
Just wait for them to round the corner. It's going,
Is it a rash? Or...
no, it's not a rash. You know what? Forget it. Doesn't matter. Sorry, I've wasted your time.
No,
I
no,
apologize.
no,
No, really. This is nothing of significance.
Theren, tell me, I'm a doctor.
No.
I
Ish.
You say it to no one.
I have seen terrible things on human bodies. Tell me what's troubling you.
Jesus, of course.
I'm simply wondering if it's possible for a hereditary illness to suddenly manifest itself in physical symptoms.
Make a medicine check.
Go to the actual door.
12.
Yeah. More info required, but I mean... you...
Fancy WebMD.
Things pop up all the time.
Anything is possible, but I'm not particularly in knowledge of this. I could do some research.
No, it's probably nothing. I think I'm just tired and Perhaps it's just the effect of exhaustion on me, but thank you very much anyway. I assure you I am completely in perfect health.
Good.
Reassure no one.
We should probably go before Aubrey tries to drag Kasaki into a temple and she mutters heathens a little bit too loudly.
Yes. Religion.
So, as the two of you race through Yibret to go and catch up
This
with
way.
Kasaki and
It's
Aubrey.
going to be excellent.
Right. That's what we'll call it for this evening. And actually, a little break for us for a little while now, because I'm going to go and get married. So, sorry.
Ah.
Bit of a break. But thank you very much for watching. It's been a real pleasure having you again. I hope you've enjoyed the start of the new chapter. Lots
job,
of
Sam.
RP. That's the setting up. Yeah, well done. Good character.
New character.
New accent.
But we've opened up a lot of threads. Who knows which ones will be followed and what will happen now. But until then, thank you very much for watching. And we'll see you next time. Bye. Bye.